The Athletics return to the Bay to start their 2018 season, but before opening day, it's the annual exhibition series versus the Giants. Daniel Gossett gets the ball in his final tune-up as he has secured a spot in the A's five-man rotation. A's Giants coming up next. Well, 3 more exhibition games left before the regular season starts on Thursday. The A's are thrilled to be back in the Bay Area and thrilled to be back at the Coliseum. It's the Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants coming up on NBC Sports California, powered by Xfinity. Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Oakland A's Baseball, along with Ray Fossey. I'm Glenn Kuiper. We are also thrilled to be back here at the Coliseum. So the season starts on Thursday. Pretty much the roster decisions have been made, right? That includes the rotation. Daniel Gossett's going to pitch today, and he got a little help with the injuries to some of the other pitchers, but Gossett is going to be in this five-man rotation.
And that's a good sign for him, because last year he did struggle, but there's some question marks about him even starting with the ball club this year. But I think the biggest thing for him, he gained some weight. He's much stronger. He's going to be able to at least stand going down towards the end of the season because he is much stronger.
Well, we gained a new broadcast partner this year as former Athletic pitcher, very popular among all of us. Dallas Braden is going to be with us this year. He's with us today. He's down in his spot. And Dallas, welcome to the broadcast team. We're thrilled to have you. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing this year and about what you're going to be doing today.
That's right, guys. Very excited to be here. I am down located behind home plate on the third base side of the dugout here, close to our boys in green and gold. And I'm going to be here giving you a different vantage point. We got sights and sounds and even smells of the game that I am fortunate enough to bring to you. So very excited about the opportunity. Some in-game interviews potentially throughout the season with players and coaches. Not a bad seat to be in if you're me, guys.
All right, thanks, Dallas. We will look forward to that, not only today, but all season long here at the Coliseum, having Dallas Braden with us. So, Daniel Gossett against Johnny Cueto. That is the pitching matchup for Game 1 of this 3-game Bay Bridge exhibition series. We'll have lineups at first pitch right after this.
California is brought to you by Toyota. With more models over 40 mpg than any other manufacturer. Toyota, let's go places. By Southwest, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Jack in the Box. Come try the new food truck series, featuring 3 new food truck-inspired sandwiches. Only at Jack in the Box.
Daniel Gossett and the Athletics take the field. Exhibition baseball from the Coliseum. It is good to be back in the Bay Area, and I'm sure both these teams feel the same way. It is coming up on Thursday. It'll be opening day all around Major League Baseball. Starting lineup for this afternoon for the visiting San Francisco Giants. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Panic, Belt, Posey, Sandoval, Crawford, Duggar, Hernandez, Blanco, and Hundley. That's the Giants starting lineup.
Daniel Gossett, 18 starts last year, only 4 wins, but as we mentioned in our open, he gained about 20 pounds, so put him close to 200. That should help him in his stamina throughout the season.
So Gossett on the mound. He will be part of this 5-man rotation. And behind Gossett this afternoon, the defense looks like this. It's good to see Matt Joyce in left field as he's gotten past that little shoulder situation that was bothering him. So he's in left. Fowler's in center, Piscotty in right. Chapman, Simeon, Lowry, and Olson around the infield. And Jonathan Lucroy is your catcher. So it is possible that this could be the opening day lineup for the Athletics on Thursday afternoon. And as we showed you in the open of our show, we have a new member of our broadcast team. His name is Dallas Braden. Maybe you've heard of him, and let's check in with Dallas early on. Dallas, how you doing down there?
I'm doing well, guys. I tell you what, this is an absolutely outstanding seat. I am excited to be here throughout the season. You want to talk about sights and sounds of the game, I'm up close on deck. I'm going to be able to give you lots of insight based on release point, mechanical issues going on at the plate. It's going to be a lot of fun, boys. I'm excited.
All right, well, hopefully I won't have any mechanical issues. Ray, you generally don't have any mechanical issues, and we should be all right. So we really have what we think this year is kind of a 3-man booth, but the third guy is going to be down in the field. So we're looking forward to that. First pitch of the game to Joe Panik from Daniel Gossett is in for a strike. So, of course, it's the annual exhibition series between these two teams. Games 2 and 3 will be tomorrow night over in San Francisco. Umpires, Adam Hamari is calling balls and strikes. Trip Gibson, Gabe Morales, Nick Lenz. Those are the umpires today as they're getting themselves ready for the regular season, just like the players are. No 2 pitches low.
A lot of times the umpires in this weekend series, or 3-game series, will be umpires who are starting on the West Coast. That way they could eliminate the travel going back across the country. We'll see if that does turn out for the Athletics, who open on Thursday, a day game. First time since 1994 that there will be a day game for the home opener for the A's.
Hard hit ball scooped up by Lowry, and that is out number 1. Indeed, the A's and the Angels on Thursday afternoon from the Coliseum. It'll be a 4-game series that we're pretty excited about.
You know, it mentions someone said just recently that Ohtani may be the 3rd starter for the Angels, which would be the Saturday game, which we'll have right here. So it should be an exciting weekend. I never did see him all spring. He was pitching, playing different places, but different opinions from scouts who have watched him pitch and hit.
Well, I tell you, Foss, I was actually able to take in a few of his outings, and on the big league side, a little bit of the struggle occurred on the mound, a little bit of a flat fastball, not quite the command I think you'd expect from somebody coming over. He did have some success against the minor league side guys that just aren't used to facing quite the same stuff, but at the plate, Foss, in my opinion, I don't think that's going to be where he makes his money. I think they'll see him utilized on the mound.
I agree.
Well, and listen, I mean, he's a 23-year-old, so played a lot of baseball in Japan, but there's pressure as well because this is not a rebuilding team, the Angels. Right. This is a pretty good team. They have a chance to have a heck of a year, and they're expecting quite a bit from this young man. We'll see if he does indeed come through, but we will see him this weekend, and it's possible we may see him next weekend as well in Anaheim. So the A's may see him a couple times early on.
You know, one thing also, I mean, you mentioned his age coming over here, and some would say that, and I played in Venezuela, Dallas. I don't know if you played some winter baseball, but you're allowed only to have so many American players, which what's it equivalent to? Is it AA, AAA, you know? But he comes over here into the major league realm, hitting and pitching, it's not that easy, as players have proven the times when they've tried to come to the big leagues.
Oh no, Fawcett, I played over in Puerto Rico, but the one assessment that I've made about Ohtani is during his time in Japan, he was essentially the guy that would be the barometer for his success at the plate. Yeah. His 95, 98 with wipeout breaking stuff.
Hit pretty well to right field. Piscotty is going to have just enough room. Halfway onto the warning track, he makes the catch for the second out. Go ahead, Dallas.
And that was really where I was going to be assessing him is seeing what he can actually get done. And for me, it's about consistency for him. Yeah. And it's just not, he's not the guy that he was facing. You know, he's 95, 98. He's not getting that same look at the plate over there in Japan. So he's coming over here faced with a tall task.
First pitch to Posey in first strike.
I think the biggest thing also, Cap, is how much can Albert Pujols play first? Because Ohtani's not going to play in the field. He's going to DH, or that's what Albert's been doing quite a bit the last couple of years because of foot problems.
Olsen knocks it down. It rolls away toward Lowry. Lowry quickly to first in time, and Daniel Gossett has a 3-up, 3-down top of the first inning. When we come back, the A's come to bat. Lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Joyce, Simeon, Lowry, Davis, Olsen, Piscotty, Chapman, Lucroy, and Fowler. That's the A starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines.
And talk about pressure. How about a little bit on Johnny Cueto with Madison Bumgarner out for at least a couple of months. So now Cueto might be the one that's going to be making a lot of starts the early part of the season for the Giants. 10-year veteran, third season with the Giants. He had an opt-out, didn't take it after last year, and why not? It's only 8-8, so maybe that opt-out he didn't want to take.
Defensively, Hernandez, Duggar, Blanco in the outfield. Sandoval, Crawford, Panic-Belt, and the infield. Posey is your catcher. So some of the Giants regulars are out there. As Matt Joyce steps in, first pitch, good rip by Joyce, fouls it straight back.
And if there's ever a time to be ready for a pitcher to quick pitch, delay, whatever, this would be the guy to do it with Johnny Cueto, who does a lot of shimmy and shaking and doing a lot of different things on the mound. He's not consistent with anything.
Yeah, some pitchers do it occasionally. It's just part of his deal.
Exactly.
So a quick 0-2 to Matt Joyce. Good news for Matt Joyce playing left field today. He's been bothered by a little right shoulder injury, and he really didn't play hardly any outfield in spring training. There's a line drive at a base hit to center field, but the A's were very careful with Joyce to make sure he was ready to play the outfield by opening day, and it looks like he is ready.
Well, talk about the shimmy and the shaking. Sometimes the location of the fastball not exactly where you want it, especially 0-2, too much of the plate. And Matt Joyce, good job of hitting right back up the middle, protecting against whatever he might get from Johnny Cueto. He gets a fastball, a little bit too much to the plate. Solid single up the middle. And that's where doing all the different gyrations, especially out of the windup. He cannot do it out of the stretch. He can take more time, but that will enable the runner first to take off and get a big jump.
You know, and to your point, Foss, you see a lot of guys across the game starting to do this, starting to instill this in their game plan.
And that is not a double play. Very close play at first. There's a little delay on Crawford covering second base, and that may have helped the A's out, but it was close at first.
And that's the reason the pitcher will always try to find out who is going to be covering the bag. And from the pitcher's standpoint, ideally, you want to throw to the bag. Somebody's supposed to be there, but you're a little bit reluctant to do it, knowing that maybe the guy is not going to be there in time and the ball is going to go to center field. Oh, gee, pace of game. But there's a case where it was too close. But a case really that Cueto, because he did hesitate, and usually on a ball that's hit back to the pitcher with a runner at first base, the infielders are pinched a little bit closer to the bag. So it should not have been a problem for either one. In this case, Crawford to get to it in plenty of time.
So one away, here's Jed Lowry. Switch hitting second baseman. And Lowry takes an inside corner strike. Lowry now 33 years old. He will turn 34 in the middle of April. Coming off a big season last year where he hit 277, had 14 homers, 69 RBIs, and of course 49 doubles. And Jed Lowry will be a free agent at the end of this year. It's always been a pretty simple solution with Lowry. If he stays healthy, he will hit.
And the good thing about it too, he's a veteran, and in the middle of the field where you have Olsen, a rookie, at first, and Chapman the same at third. Marcus Semien, the old guy now, 3 years.
He's ancient, isn't he?
But it's nice to have Lowry, that force in the middle of the diamond, with the veteran leadership that he has.
So Lowry gone on 3 pitches.
Cueto does a good job of getting ahead early, and you can see he's got that change-up grip. Foss, good arm speed, hand speed. Bottom falls out. Lowry comes up short. That's going to be the thing with Cueto, is being able to repeat arm speed, being able to repeat delivery. Foss, you made a great point about him trying to manipulate and mess with timing. This is one of the things that he does well. If he can repeat, Cueto can look for a bounce-back season.
Difference there, he's out of the stretch, and he had to do what he did, throwing the splitter fastball with 2 strikes on Matt Joyce out of the windup.
Davis goes after the first pitch, shallow center, and it's going to be Crawford goes out there quite a ways to make the catch. So leadoff single for the A's, nothing else. We're headed to the second at the Coliseum, no score.
Deal starting now.
Nice day in the Bay Area. Cool And a little overcast, but supposed to warm up a little bit this week, and that's good news with the A's opening up at home on Thursday. Everybody in Major League Baseball will open up on Thursday, so that will be a good day.
But you know, Kipe, I was thinking about that because back in the mid part of the country in the East, it's almost always a day game on opener. And so it's built-in excuse about why you can't go to school or work. You know, you go to the game.
It's a great excuse.
So now we have an excuse out here. We have to figure out for everybody what can we say to come out on the show. It should be America's birthday right there. Come out to the treehouse.
There it is, folks.
That's a great place to be.
It is open for business. Pablo Sandoval hits a high pop-up shallow left field. Joyce makes the catch, and that's the first out here in the second inning, although he dropped it, but did they say he caught it?
He's transferring.
I think it was on the transfer. Hey, true story brought to you by McDonald's. August 2nd of last year in San Francisco, Daniel Gossett had one of the best starts for him last year, and it was against the Giants. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. He struck out 5. He picked up his 3rd win of the season. So that was Gossett against the Giants over in San Francisco. He had really kind of an up and down season. There was some good outings. There were some very rough outings. Overall, he finished with a 4-11 record, and like Ray said, he got a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. And what you hope is that what happened last year, the good and the bad, he learned something from it, and he can build on it this year because he's got an opportunity.
Absolutely, and I think from his standpoint, having the type of season he did last year, those 21 home runs, very noticeable in 18 starts. But the fact that he gets a reprieve, I mean, you know, unfortunately for the A's with Jarrell Cotton out for the season because of Tommy John, well, Blackburn's got some stiffness in his right elbow, so some things have happened that really have enabled Gossett to be able to be in the rotation. And say what you want, sometimes you take advantage of that opportunity. And for Bob Melvin, his 8th season, excellent man, best manager I've seen. Sean Manaea's going to be in the rotation. You got Kendall Graveman announced as the starting pitcher. Daniel Mingden's going to be in the rotation. He had the shutout in Philadelphia last year. So good things from the A's standpoint. I read today where the A's top 10 prospects, some of them are hurt. I mean, prospects being major league prospects as far as a chance to pitch here, but some injuries have occurred. But the A's are going to score runs. They've got an outstanding bullpen, and the defense is improved. They get through the rotation and not kill the bullpen. Should be fine.
3-2 the count. Full shift on. Foul straight back. There's Paul Blackburn injured. A's hope to get him back fairly soon. A.J. Putt, not quite sure how long he's going to be out. So, like many situations with the roster, injuries sometimes allow things to be figured out. You don't want it to be that way, but it's not uncommon. Lowry kicked it, and Crawford's aboard.
What did I say about defense?
And really a fairly routine play. So it'll be an air 4 on Lowry.
And it's rare for Jed to even have an error throughout a season, much less in the first game of the Bay Bridge series. But he got in front of it and just bobbled it. And once it kicked far enough away, no chance to recover. Now he looked up a little bit maybe and got it off the tip of the glove. Did not go down far enough. Oh, I wonder if Olsen cutting in front of him. Maybe he thought Olsen was going to get it.
So that's an area that needs to be better. It was better in spring training, as Ray said. I know Bob Melvin talked about it before the game today, too, that the defense, he was really happy with that coming out of Arizona. And Arizona's not an easy place to play defense. I know that sounds kind of silly, but the fields are hard. Sun's horrible. It's not an easy place to be a real good defensive team, but the A's will indeed have to be better in that area, and I think they will be.
Well, guys, to the defense of the players, there were some guys playing, I don't want to necessarily say out of position, but maybe in spots where they're not as comfortable as they could be.
And that's a foul ball. Olsen grabbed it in front of the bag, so that makes it the home plate umpire's call, and he lifted up his hands, meaning foul ball. You can finish, Dallas.
Well, I tell you what, guys, from where I'm sitting, I'm looking right down this line right here, and it looked like Ole had that in fair territory. Looked like that ball was playable, and he makes a great job. Footwork around the bag, tags the bag, makes a strong throw over to second.
It's a fair ball.
Just didn't get the love. And that's
ball.
It's a beautiful thing about where I'm sitting, boys. No matter what the umpire tells you, I'll give it to you straight.
No, that was, and you notice when Bob Melvin went out, noticed the home plate umpire had the call. It was Adam Hamari who ejected Bob Melvin a couple years ago in spring training over a talking stick. And I've never seen a manager ejected in the spring training game because they're trying to evaluate players. But it's a home plate umpire until the ball hits first base or gets past the bag.
Well, I mean, do we need to worry about Dallas maybe getting kicked out of a game this year? That I mean, that would be a first. You behave yourself down there.
I'm keeping it quiet.
All right. Yeah. See. Just be careful down there. Adam Hamari.
Well, before the game, down by the dugout, Hamari and Gibson were both down there, and is Gibson taking a picture of the A's dugout. Now, I remember at the time, and your brother will as also, that when umpires were in the stands, they were looking to see if there was any fraternization, and they would fine you. These umpires had their backs to the
they weren't worried about
They weren't
that.
concerned about any fraternization, no. Umpires would come to the park early and sit in the stands with nobody there except them. And if you even said hello to an opposing player, you're fined.
Interesting.
Yeah. Times have changed.
Guys are going to lunch pregame today, Foss.
I know that. Can't wait for the game over to go to dinner.
2-1 the count. This is Steven Duggar, young center fielder. Kind of interesting. The A's and the Giants have a somewhat similar center field situation with two good young prospects, but they're just not quite sure they're quite ready with Dustin Fowler and Steven Duggar. Both are very good defensively, both good speed. Both look like they're going to be able to hit, but the question is, are they ready to hit big league pitching on an everyday basis? And that's a decision both these teams are going to have to make in center field. Shoots it toward left. Joyce coming in. Joyce dives and he caught it. Nice play by Matt Joyce. And that's the second out.
Great job by Joyce tracking this ball. Slice off the bat of the lefty, fading away in. Makes a great play, laying out in front of himself. Not an easy play to make. That ball hit hard at you, slicing, tailing away from you. Good job by Matty.
And believe it or not, even though he's played left field last year, predominantly a right fielder, and asking him during spring training about the differences, and it is a big difference when you're in right field, the ball slicing off a right-hander towards the line, same with the lefty in left field. So an adjustment that he has to make because KD, Chris Davis, is going to be DHing most of the year.
Here's Gorkis Hernandez facing Daniel Gossett.
This is also for Gossett a good inning, a good opportunity because of a little adversity. He had a chance to get an easy 4-3 out. He could be down in the inning right now, but sometimes you want to see how a pitcher reacts when he does have a problem in the air behind him. And maybe this is a good sign for him. Gets out of the inning, gets back in the dugout, and got Scott Emerson, his pitching coach, and the skipper happy that he's able to get through a jam.
0-1 pitch, down and away. Should mention in the top of the third inning, or in the third inning in general, Dave Kaval, the A's president, is going to join us, talk about the upcoming season.
Oh, we can leave then. Dave is. He can. He's a great promoter. How you doing, Dave? And 5 minutes later, but no, it's great about Dave. He's perfect when it comes to that.
That one flipped down the left field line to foul. So
top of the third, huh?
Top of the third. So we'll hear from Mr. Kaval. Matt Williams is going to join Dallas Braden down near the dugout somewhere in the fourth inning. We're also going to try to talk with the opening day starter, Kendall Graben. Also hoping to chat with A's first baseman Matt Olson. One of the nice things you can do during exhibition baseball, chat with the players when they come out of the game. We'll look forward to talking to that man, Matt Williams. So Matt in the green and gold.
Yeah. Darren Bush sitting next to him, the A's hitting coach.
Quick throw, and diving back again is Crawford, but third inning, Dave Cavill will talk about how the front office getting themselves ready for this 2018 season. It's been a very busy off season. We'll talk about some of the improvements made to the Coliseum, including the treehouse. Good breaking ball, and Gossett gets his first strikeout. Side retired, so the air does not hurt the Athletics. Bottom of the second coming up.
PM against the Angels this Thursday, March the 29th. Spend your day with Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, and the rest of the New Look Athletics. Plus, its first 25,000 fans got a 50th anniversary wall hang. Let's go to athletics.com/tickets. Should be a fun day. Skype said the weather's supposed to be good, and a day game for the home opener.
First pitch, Matt Olson in for a strike. So you have opening day, and then we get an opening night as well on Friday night. It should be a huge celebration with the 50 greatest players. That one past Panic. It took a wicked hop, and Olson has a leadoff single here in the second inning.
You know, Panic made a play in the World Series a couple of years ago. What, in 14 on a similar play up the middle, diving, turned it into a double play. This time, though, the hanging splitter, changeup, something stayed up. Matt Olson. Here's Ole. Watch this. Matador. Ole. Get out of the way. I don't blame him. But a play that he made probably turned the World Series around against the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, you and I have talked about that. I'm not sure the Giants win Game 7 if he doesn't make that play.
I agree.
Because if he doesn't make it, I think it would have been first and third, nobody out.
And Hosmer
hit it. Yeah.
And he was not running hard to first, and it was a challenge play, and if he had to slide ahead first, it'd be in a double play. But you're right, Panic made that play.
Final score is it's a 1-1 game.
What's it? And then also Alex Gordon hit a ball left center with a couple of errors, and if he had been running hard out of home plate, could have been inside the park. Little things, you know, the old assumption in the game, these are major league players, but they're human, and mistakes do happen, and you always have to play it accordingly and not assume things are not going to happen. But you're right, Panic. I mean, that made his career.
Yep.
As a rookie.
0-2 the count to Stephen Piscotty, new right fielder for the Athletics. So we're excited about watching Stephen Piscotty. And something to remember about Piscotty, we know he's from the Bay Area, and I think A's fans are well aware of that story, but he is signed to a long-term contract. He is in just the second year of a 6-year contract that he signed with the St. Louis Cardinals. So he is under contract with the Athletics through 2022.
And kind of a team-friendly
contract. Yeah, it's a reasonable amount. So Piscotty got one of those long-term deals at a young point in his career.
Don't blame him for taking the contract. Trevor Cahill back with the A's, signed a similar contract after his big season.
This one hit in the air, right center. Duggar makes the catch. So that's the first out.
And for Piscotty to grow up watching the A's come to the Coliseum but never played here. So as he talked to us down in Arizona, great to have him with the club, a very good right-handed hitter. And you know, Kai, you could almost compare it a little bit to Madison Bumgarner, a very team-friendly contract. And all of a sudden last year he gets injured, this year he gets injured. But I remember talking to him, he said, you know, I'm going to be a free agent at 29. Let's just hope these injuries don't factor into him getting what he deserves.
There's Bruce Bochy, now in his 12th season as the manager of the Giants. Whole bunch of career wins. And 3 World Series titles, and he will probably end up in the Hall of Fame someday. 0-1 to Matt Chapman. That one runs inside. A's are 13-14-2 in spring training, if you're into spring training records. Giants are 13-16-2. This is the third matchup. The 2 teams split 2 games in Arizona, and then of course they have these 3 games coming up today, tomorrow night, and Tuesday night. But everybody is ready to get the regular season going. Bob Melvin was talking about this series, the 3-game exhibition series, and it is exhibition, but he said, you know, he really likes it because what it does is it gives his team a full series in a big league park with, you know, listen, it's not a sellout, vibrant crowd that's cheering like crazy, but it's a good major league crowd all 3 games that really gets you ready for the regular season. You have a day game, then you have a couple of night games. So his point was this 3-game series kind of gets everything you need to get ready for Thursday.
Matt Chapman the last 2 years has been able to play in the Bay Bridge series because he was a non-roster player. Different now because he's going to be the everyday third baseman. But the experience that he gained last year, 2 years playing in these big parks, really helped him.
Sandoval to second, on to first, not in time. Chapman runs extremely well. So fielder's choice, 2 outs. But Dallas, can you see what Bob's saying about the importance of playing in a big league park before the regular season starts? And as Ray and I always talk about, it's the second deck theory, right?
Exactly.
Playing in a ballpark with another deck.
Absolutely. You add the lights and you add the deck, and now things apparently just got real. That's kind of how it feels. But to Foss's point regarding Chapman and the experience, that's what you want to do, is you want to get the experience of your routine, getting that underneath your feet, learning how to show up to the ballpark, what you're going to do in preparation as far as your routine, getting your body ready to play. These are all things that don't necessarily lend themselves to occurring in a spring training facility or a spring training environment. So this is that fine hybrid between spring training and it really mattering.
Yeah, and I mean, the second deck on a stadium, it sounds like it's kind of a joke, but there's really something to that, right? When you're an outfielder and you're looking in, there's a huge difference. In Arizona, you're looking at the sky.
Right. Here,
or in any big league park, you are looking at that. You're looking at a second deck and a third deck. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but I think it is.
Absolutely.
Oh, it matters, especially for the hitters. You're talking about the hitter's eye. You know, out in spring training, you've got just one big green square, and now here you're at home. You've got you've got Mountain Davis to help you out.
For a while, anyway. But you know, this crowd in spring training is standing room only.
Sure,
out on the berm,
question.
but now spread out. It's a little bit different, but you know, it's the experience. I think from the A's standpoint, they're starting the season with 8 home games. They have the Bay Bridge series plus an off day. It gives them a lot of time to get acclimated to the area for the new players, find some place to live so they do not have to worry about flying in and deciding where they're going to play or to live.
So Lucroy strikes out, side retired. We are headed to the 3rd inning. A's president Dave Kaval is going to join us. We're going to talk A's baseball in just a moment. It puts a smile on the face of our guest, A's President Dave Kaval. And as you look out there, the thought of a treehouse, which was probably hatched at some point in the offseason, what do you think as you look out there?
It looks great. I think people are having an amazing time. I spent about an hour there before the game, and folks hanging out, having beers, and just enjoying themselves.
Okay, so when this idea popped up, and whether you thought of it or somebody else thought of it, you kicked it around, and what was your thought initially about what you were hoping to accomplish with the treehouse?
Well, we want to have a location where you can actually see the game and congregate, kind of like in a bar-type setting. You know, we had that at the soccer stadium with the largest exterior bar in North America at Avaya Stadium. It was a huge hit. We wanted to bring the same kind of thing here to the Coliseum.
One thing, Billy Beane, the A's Executive Vice President of Baseball Operations, of course, puts the players on the field. I talked to him in spring training. He said one thing that you're doing, Dave Kaval, is that you're having, in a stadium that's 50 years old,
yeah,
you're trying to create a fan experience with a lot of things you're doing. How much does Treehouse factor into that, the food trucks and all those things that you're doing?
It's critical. We want a location where people want to come and they can have a great time and sample A's baseball and enjoy it. And I think that's what we have there, and I think it'll be a huge hit, and it already is in day one.
And the price?
Well, the price is pretty good. I mean, you pay $150 to get a pass for the entire season.
And you get to watch the game.
Yeah, you get to watch the game. There's seats up there, GA. Yeah. It's as good as it gets. And you get drink specials and food, and I mean, yeah, it's the place to be.
So let's say I get a treehouse pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want. You can go to the treehouse, but you can also, that whole section up there, you can walk all the way over to right field if you want. So you can pretty much cover that whole section if you have the treehouse pass.
You can, and if you want to come to the other part of the stadium, you can upgrade for that one game. But for the treehouse pass holders, they get that whole area to hang out in.
That one looped to short, over short, and it's in for a base hit. So let's go inside the treehouse and check this out, Dave. It really is a beautiful room. And these folks are checking it out for the first time today.
Yeah, a lot of people have that experience. It's amazing. We have an amazing bar. We have all the big old reclaimed pieces of redwood. It's just a fun area. It's kind of got a distressed feel to it. We have obviously the pool tables. It's a great place to hang out.
Well, we'd like to do a game from out there. What do you think?
We're doing it. It's part of the plan. It was just written into the plan. And then, of course, obviously the theme, treehouse, Oakland, the oak tree. You know, we have a living wall out there. You know, there's just a lot of really cool things to it that I think folks will enjoy.
And you did some cool stuff with Shy Park Tavern as well, right? You opened that up a little bit.
We did. We actually, because you were kind of trapped in there, and so now we actually have the bays are open to the elements, and you can see out and feel really more part of the game, which is really important. And I think fans will appreciate that. And you can buy actually those areas out as like a group area where you can just hang out and bring your company out, or a birthday party, or an anniversary, whatever you want. So those are selling quickly, and I think people will enjoy that.
Where do you get all the ideas?
I talk to all the fans. They're not even my ideas. I do the office hours. I get the best ideas. Ricky Henderson Field, all the different stuff.
And I think that's been one of the neater things that you've done, where you not only do you take fans' ideas, but you really try to implement them.
Yeah, and we can't do them all. I mean, some are just too crazy. You know, it's like we had the floating stadium that we would take over to AT&T Park and park next to AT&T. That ain't gonna happen. But we have other stuff that people have come up with, whether it's naming the field Ricky Henderson Field, or moving the Fan Fest to Jack London Square, or the Treehouse. People wanted an area like that, and we gave it to them.
And one of the things that you have done, and I know when you changed the Seagate to Catfish and Dennis Eckersley D-Gate, that you're wanting to bring back the history, which is a great history. How much of that, the fact that you grew up in Cleveland,
that's
you're
the reason.
a great fan, and you know the history there as well?
You know, I saw growing up, you know, guys like Bob Feller, Lou Boudreau, you know, Tris Speaker, all these players who had played for the Indians and that they had celebrated in a real way, especially at Jacobs Field. And I didn't see that here with the A's, even though the A's have more history.
Absolutely.
And so it's a small thing that we can do to give people the why. You know, why should you be an A's fan? It's like, whoa, this is the third most successful Major League Baseball team ever. That's a big deal. So
Joyce charges as Blanco, the runner, will hold. So it really is going to be a year-long celebration, and I think we're all really looking forward to that, because I get the feeling you're going to kind of blend that history and this celebration with this young group of players and try to make it, let's all enjoy this.
Oh,
and look back, but also look ahead.
Well, I think it's important for the young players to see the history, to like hang out with Ricky Henderson or Dave Stewart or see Raleigh Fingers and see, you know, Ray Fosse, the whole crew, to understand what it means to play on a winning team and to win championships. And that is an important connection we need to make as an organization.
I think one of the most interesting things down in the clubhouse that you normally would walk straight in and you'd have everything on the side, which was available to everybody. But now you created an area that talks about the championships, all the success, that only the players can walk down that aisle.
It's just for the players. That's the audience. To see that, to see 1968 in the first game ever, or to see the championship in '89, and you know, celebrate those great moments.
But I thought that was interesting when I saw that, because it's not open to the press.
No,
it's strictly for the players. And down towards the video room and the club,
I saw it today.
trainer's room.
Cool.
I mean, that's very special.
Well, that's hallowed ground right there.
Yeah, it is.
When you think all the people walk through there.
That's right.
So as you really try to make the fan experience here at the Coliseum just better. Another thing you've done, you've added a third row to the field boxes. The very close seats down the left field line and down the right field line, just past the dugout, but there used to be 2 rows of field boxes. So now there's 3.
When we need that, because you know, we basically are sold out of our premium inventory, and I think that's one of the things, one reason we need a new stadium is we need more. But people want a special experience in the ballpark, and so adding another row allows us to do that, which is great.
So you add up a lot of little things, and it just makes for a better experience. And not all little things. The treehouse is a very big thing. But if you do a whole bunch of things, and you really hope that the fans step back and say, well, that's kind of cool. And they feel like you're trying to make it a better experience for them.
And it shows our commitment to Oakland and the city.
What about
this ballpark?
Talk about the seats down here.
Those are pretty nice, right? Yeah, you can have a family of 4 there. I was just hanging out with that crew down there. They had a great time. You're right behind the net. It's amazing.
That's a pretty good seat.
Might be the best in baseball. You don't get that close very often.
How did you convince the doctors who are usually sitting down there to leave?
Well, I feel like they've been in use because I've got so many injured players right now. That's why they don't need to sit there. They're working. They're working.
I know. We like to ask the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. You guys really came. You had all off-season away.
But it's always nice to see the good doctors down there enjoying the game. But those seats are available.
I love the doctors to death, but I'm telling you, I think that's a better place for a fan.
No, I think it's great. And maybe by the doctors not being there, there won't be as many injuries.
There we go. And if that happens, we'll look back at that moment. Be the great moment in the history of the club.
By the way, here's one trip to the mound. Okay, where's it going to be on the scoreboard? Because you're only allowed 6 trips. Here's one.
This is one.
Okay, the umpire's making a note. Now, we were told that someplace on the scoreboard is supposed to be a 6.
That's called advanced stats.
6.
It's going to be like
war.
It's going to be like war, and then next thing to be trips to the mound. Those are going to be the 2 key things.
When you get to 1, it's going to light up. You only got 1 left. Be careful.
Yeah, we might need to have a second Holy Toledo.
See, there it is.
Okay, there it is.
Mound visits.
Oh, yeah.
Remaining.
I like it. I like it.
Okay, so
when I keep score, I don't know how where I'm gonna put that on the scorecard. That's a new thing. How do you score that, Ray? What do you think?
Well, you got WAR, you got
OPS, you got all sorts of stuff.
Now we got MVR.
There we go. There's always something new in baseball.
So the bases are loaded. So Gossett is in some trouble. He's going to have to work his way out of this jam.
But I want to watch that to see how quickly it goes to 5. Okay, there it is.
There's a button right in front of you. Just press it. There it is, dude.
It's not my job.
It's your job. Yeah. We're gonna include that in here. That's right here. Put it right there. Yeah.
I'm not gonna put it in my score sheet. No way.
Okay. It might be the new thing.
Quick 0-2 on Brandon Belt. So coming up on the 17th of April, that's going to be quite a night. Tickets are free.
Yeah,
this place is going to be
packed,
off the hook.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be off the hook.
And you look up, and the tarps up on the 3rd deck of Mount Davis are gone. Is that in preparation?
It's in anticipation of that big game, the 50th year to the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And after the April 17th, will the tarps go back up?
Well, we haven't decided that yet. We'll see. I mean, it looks nice without tarps. I mean, we have the flags now.
I saw. Well, that's what I saw.
That's pretty classy, right?
4 flags of the championships: 72, 3, 4, and 89.
Because we used to have that on the tarp, so we have to have that somewhere.
That's great. That's perfect.
So you're hoping. I mean, it's a cool idea. That was the the date of the first game ever played by the A's here in Oakland. But you got a chance to set the attendance record as well, right? In this stadium, or is it
not in all of baseball?
Not in all of baseball,
because obviously the Dodgers used to play at the Coliseum, and they got those. Who knows how many people were really there, but nonetheless.
But what could you get to? Could you get to 55, 56,000?
Oh, no, I think we can get to like 66.
Really?
That's what they're telling me. David Renetti told me that.
Well, he would know.
And he knows. He knows.
Well, I wonder, that may be a Bay Area record. Candlestick was pretty big, but I don't think Candlestick was 65,000.
I think we might be able to set the Bay Area record. Well, all the A's fans are going to come out. It's a gift to the community. A free game. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have a birthday cake, the whole thing.
That's right.
Why not? You turn 50 only once, right?
Yes, it's unfortunate that the late Ronald Reagan couldn't be here to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. He was the governor at the time.
That was a great moment. Yeah.
Threw out the first pitch. Meanwhile, Dave, you know that if Gossett can get a ground ball, he can get out of a bases loaded situation with no runs. He's got a big strikeout with Belt. Now looking for a ground ball to get a double play. And
I'm all for it.
I know you are, because you're a big fan.
Yeah, well, I'll take a strikeout, too.
I could see you end up in the upper deck of Cleveland Municipal Stadium when it was closed down.
I was the only guy in the upper deck. I was spelling out "Go Tribe" in the seats, and I got chased out of there into the teepee that was out in, the outfield. So I was getting in a lot of trouble out there as a 10-year-old.
The mistake by the lake. You know it well,
that area.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
There we go.
There we go.
We're getting there. There's 2 strikes.
Yeah. No, it was cold there on the water.
Yes,
oh, man. Freezing.
Yeah.
Especially in April. But that's why they had day baseball. That was another reason I wanted to have the day game. Because I grew up in Cleveland. All the schools were out. You basically got out of school.
Are you writing excuses?
I'm just saying.
Because we were talking.
I'll write them. I'm going to put it out an excuse. People can just take it into their teacher or whatever.
That's good.
From Dave Cavill. I don't know if it'll go anywhere.
Well, it should be a holiday.
It should be a national holiday.
Exactly.
I know. They should just add it.
If they're playing all games on Thursday.
Yeah.
Start the season. It should be a national holiday.
Of course. It's baseball. It's American pastime.
But I was telling Kipe, having played back there, we'd have an excuse because it was a day game on the home opener. Now we have to figure out excuses here because 94 was the last time.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
So.
And and before that we were all night games too. So it was only like one time. So I think it's
first time in 41 years, I think I read. But for everybody listening, Dave Cavill, the president of the Oakland Athletics, said that he will write out.
Happy to. I'm gonna
for teachers.
I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna put a template. I'll send it out on Twitter.
Yeah.
So people can get it and download it and.
The Cavill excuse.
Hey, whatever it takes.
Yeah. Sounds like a TV show.
Hey, I'm trying to get people to be into baseball. Whatever it takes, we got to do.
Well, you have the tarps off the third deck, which means more people can come and watch. And then,
it's going to be 75 degrees, 80 even better. You get a suntan.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the spring. It's
baseball.
Yeah,
it's a national holiday. I agree.
It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You don't want to miss that. Got to do it.
94 last time the day game on home opener for the A's.
3-2 pitch, hit deep to right center. Fowler is going to not be able to get it. It's going to knock home one. Hundley trying to score, and he will. So it's a 2-run double for Buster Posey. So Gossett got to 2 strikes on Posey, but just could not finish him off, and it looked like it may have been a breaking ball that was just up a little bit.
If you watch Fowler in center field, the one thing. Of course, Posey, one of the best going opposite field, but watch Fowler as he goes for the ball. He's going to stop about the warning track. And maybe just felt the fella's going to run out of room, but right there. And, it hits on the warning track, but that's one of the things we talked about earlier about playing in a major league park. And remember last year, he only got 1 game, unfortunately, the incident that happened in Chicago. So this is all new for him as well, playing this huge park in the first game of this Bay Bridge series.
So that's why it's good. It's an exhibition game.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. So we're just getting to know the field. That was, he'll catch that on Thursday.
Exactly.
No big problem.
He's never played here before.
That's right.
And you're right. A month from now, maybe he probably makes that play.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot to learn.
But he is a very good center fielder. And we were talking earlier about Duggar for the Giants. That park at San Francisco, which we'll see the next couple of nights, that's a huge area that a center field has to cover.
Matt Joyce looking up, tough sun, and he makes the catch. Panic is the runner who tags at third. He comes in to score. So it's going to be a sacrifice fly to give the Giants a 3-0 lead. So Dave, Ballpark update, what are you going to be working on all summer as far as looking ahead to the possibility of getting this new ballpark?
Well, I'm spending a lot of time doing the feasibility on the Howard Terminal site downtown near Jack London Square, where we have our offices now located.
Yep.
So we're spending a lot of time with the port commissioners, with Chris Lytle as the executive director, and we've had a lot of really good initial conversations. The big challenge down there is transportation.
Right.
So we need to come up with a transportation plan that works for everyone, and so we're working on that. And then we're also spending time looking at the Coliseum as an option, because you know, this is the place where we currently play, and we need to see if we can work out a deal here too.
Good. Dave, thanks for stopping by.
Great to be here, guys.
Appreciate it, and we're looking forward to Thursday.
It'll be awesome.
Day game.
Day game. Let's do it.
Day.
Treehouse.
Treehouse.
Aggressive, accessible, experienced tax attorneys. Call Moskowitz LLP at 888-TAX-DEAL.
It is the bottom of the third. Giants with a 3-0 lead. We appreciate Vice President Dave Cavill stopping by. It's always fun to talk to Dave. He's got good energy, and he kind of gets you fired up.
I like the template idea, you know. So everybody listening, contact Dave Cavill, president of the Oakland Athletics, for your excuse for home opener on Thursday, March 29th. Day game. First time since 1994. And I'm only repeating it because he said it.
He did. Dustin Fowler leading it off. Fowler hitting in the 9th spot. Joyce to follow, and then Simeon. One of the decisions the A's are in the process of making in the next probably 48 hours is, do they keep Dustin Fowler or Boog Powell as really what would be their 5th outfielder, including Chris Davis. And that's a base hit, so Fowler goes the other way. So it's an interesting decision. A's hope he's ready to hit at the big league level.
Well, to your point, Kai, this is what they're looking for. Ball on the outside part of the plate, continues to go with the pitch, not trying to do any more than he's capable of doing. And that's what they're looking for, somebody who can maybe potentially set the table, serve as that double leadoff. And if he continues to make strides, Fowler very well could end up on the right side of that decision-making process.
Well, we will see.
The A's have been looking for a leadoff hitter that they could put in the #1 spot. And to Dallas' point about setting the table, that's what you want, a leadoff hitter, and that's the type of hitting you want. Somebody takes the pitch to the outside part of the plate and goes the opposite field.
And that got Matt Joyce the foul ball off the foot, and he is down. Maybe it wasn't his foot. We We'll see on the replay if it was foot or knee area.
Well, guys, I can tell you from up here, I heard it hit off the bat, or from down here, excuse me, heard it hit off the bat, and then just above that, just above the guard, just below the kneecap, you could hear the double impact. Pap, pap. Oh, that does not look good.
The thud was off the knee.
Yep.
Yeah. That, unfortunately, is not a good sound. Every time I see a ball that goes to the lower extremities, I think of Jermaine Dye.
Oh.
Broke his, I think, his tibia, but I mean, and you have the protection on the, you see the shin guard on the inside of the right ankle for a sinker ball pitcher, but it doesn't help the knee unless you wear a complete shin guard. But
so Joyce is okay. He steps back in against Cueto. Will shift on. Crawford, the shortstop, playing behind second base. Outfield is straight away for Joyce, who singled in the first inning.
and just like with Dustin Fowler, you shift to the right. If you pitch Joyce outside, he's not going to pull the ball. He's going to take a base hit to left field. And a lot of times on the shift, can the pitcher pitch to the shift, or are you 100% sure that the hitter is going to try to pull the outside pitch?
That one's hit well to center. Duggar's back. Duggar's at the wall, and did he catch it? Yes, he did. I believe Steven Duggar just took a home run away from Matt Joyce.
Yes, he did. A little tip of the cap by Joyce running back that he knows he took a home run away. But that's smart pitching, 400 feet straight away center versus getting out in front and pulling the ball. Backdoor slider that didn't really break, stayed up, and that's what Cueto's been doing in this game so far, leaving pitches up. But Duggar to the wall, didn't a mini jump, but the ball clearly was over the fence right there and would have been a two-run home run.
So pretty nice play by the young center fielder. Here's Marcus Semien. First pitch catches the inside corner. Both these teams, the A's and the Giants, coming off last place finishes. Giants season last year was just pretty much a disaster right from the start. The A's finished very well, and that kind of helped their attitude going into the offseason. The A's finished the month of September with a 17-12 record, and I think that really helped the optimism. But it was interesting. I saw somewhere where these two teams finishing in last place, it was the first time that that has ever happened.
Yeah. The
two teams being in the Bay Area together since 1968. Both teams last place, and we'd like to change that this year.
Same year. It's unfortunate, and of course the Giants improved. They kind of reloaded, not rebuilding.
Sandoval juggles, throws to first to get Semien. Once he juggled, any chance of a double play was pretty much out the door.
A's baseball from spring training in California is always live with MLB at Bat. The app will keep you connected every day with live radio calls, video highlight stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB at Bat now. It's your #1 A's app. Spring training in California. Oh, this is exhibition season right here.
Arizona is done. Interesting spring weather-wise. It was not as warm as it usually is.
Probably the coldest. I wouldn't say. Normally about mid-March it starts to warm up and it stays hot, but not this year. It did not do that. Matter of fact, a little rain.
It was cold early too, right?
Cold. I mean, it was probably the worst spring that I've seen as far as consistency and the warm weather. But I don't think there was one person who lives in Arizona year-round was complaining about the month of March except baseball players.
That one's going to drop for a base hit, and it's going to knock home Fowler. So Jed Lowry may have broke his bat, but he knocks in a run, and the A's are on the board. It's 3-1.
It's a great job by Jed. See there, that changeup again, down and out, caught a little too much of the plate. Jed might have been a little bit out front, but Fossey does a great job of keeping his hands back. That allows him to get that barrel to the ball, fight it off, and get that single. And Fowler humming around second, humming around third, then getaway sticks up and moving.
Well, and Sandoval not able to make the play at third, allowed Fowler to get to second base instead of being a possible double play, or at least the force out at second. That extra base hit with 2 outs, one of the best things a hitter can do is get the 2-out base hit. But the non-play at third by Sandoval enables the A's to get a runner in scoring position, and Jed Lowry does the job getting him in.
Chris Davis popped out to the shortstop in his first at bat.
I will say what Sandoval did when he bobbled the ball. He did not look at second. He immediately went to first, like you said, but it did enable Fowler to get into scoring position. But 2-out RBI hits. I mean, you talk about home runs, but over the course of the season, you're going to play 600 times as an everyday player. You're going to hit a lot of home runs, but those big hits with 2 outs, singles to drive in runs, are just going to be as important. And Jed, the doubles master, who first hit in the spring was another double.
Outside Chris Davis. Chris Davis ready for the regular season to start. He's had a little bit of a slow exhibition season. I don't think he's really worried about it. He's got 5 hits this spring. 3 of those 5 have been home runs.
And remember, Kyle, last year opening day he hit 2 home runs, did not hit 1 all of spring.
And a fastball, a little up and in, and Davis strikes outside. Retired A's get a run on 2 hits. When we come back, A's third base coach Matt Williams will join Dallas Braden. As it is a nice day here in the Bay Area, a little chilly. First of 3 exhibition games between these 2 Bay Area rivals. For the Giants, it'll be Duggar, Hernandez, and Blanco as Daniel Gossett works into the 4th inning. Good breaking ball from Gossett. Let's check in with Dallas Braden, who is standing by with the A's Matt Williams, who he looks good in the green and gold, doesn't he, Dallas?
That's right. I'm here with familiar face, new third base coach for the Oakland A's, Matt Williams. Matt, a little different look today. Green and gold. What's it like staring across the way at some familiar faces, different place?
Well, it's old home week anyway, right? It's the Bay Area. It's comfortable for me. I get a chance to work with this dynamic group, and it's a lot of fun. I know a lot of guys over there, so we said hello today. We'll get a couple more hellos the next couple of days and go our separate ways.
Right, and we understand skipper experience in Washington, skipper experience in Arizona. You find yourself in the third base box over here, but the comfort and the familiarity with Bob Melvin. Speak to that and what that means as far as your role with the coaching staff.
Well, you know, we were teammates. on the Giants late 80s, early 90s. He was the bench coach in Arizona when we won the World Series, and now I got a chance to work with him again. I think he's fantastic. I think he's a great strategist, and certainly has a great rapport with all the guys on the team. So I'm fortunate to be here, and happy to be working for him for sure.
Well, I tell you what, there's a lot of talent littered throughout the infield, first base, third base specifically. You're no stranger to some Gold Gloves. They've got Matt Chapman over here at third base. He can roll the pole as well. Anything you see in him that you might see in yourself that you can pass along?
Well, I just think he's really dynamic. He does a lot of things so well. Certainly defensively, he's at the top of his game. The hitting will come. He's got very few big league at bats, so that'll come as well. He just does everything that a winning player can do to help his team win, and he's got a great attitude to go along with it.
Well, let's hope for the best for Matt Chapman. Let's hope you stay out of his way, Matty.
We'll try. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Good to see you. Thanks.
Guys, back to you.
All right, so one of the good guys in baseball, Matt Williams. Of course, started his career at the Giants and then went to the Indians and the Diamondbacks. Matt Williams in his career, Ray, 378 home runs, nearly 1,900 career hits. He was terrific. And I'm telling you, Matt Chapman reminds all of us of a young Matt Williams.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of comparisons. They even look alike a little bit, but if you saw Matt play when he first came up, he looks like Matt Chapman.
Well, I said it during spring training. I'll repeat it when I talked to Ron Washington, who was one of the best at working with infielders. He said Matt Williams will help the other Matts tremendously. And Dallas alluded to Matt Chapman, but Matt Olson at first base. You got corner infielders that are capable of hitting anywhere from 50 to 60 home runs, which are power positions anyway. But defensively, they're exceptional, and I think that's what makes Matt Williams to this organization. Chip Hale was excellent, of course, now with the Washington Nationals. But having the former Gold Glover and Major League player, and I remember when Chili Davis was hired as the hitting coach for the Athletics, and Jamal Weeks, another switch hitter. But the one thing the skipper said, you could say it about Matt Williams, he's got a baseball card.
Yes, he does.
He's got a back of a baseball card, and that's what the skipper said to Jamal Weeks. Go online and check out what Chili Davis did in his career. And so when he speaks, he knows what he's talking about. Matt Williams is the same way.
And Matt Williams, as a player, was very quiet, but a big-time leader in the clubhouse.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm trying to think, was it the strike-shortened season that there was possibility of him eclipsing the home run?
43 home runs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whenever
he was on pace to get to, I think,
and Tony Gwynn close to 400
right.
as a batting average.
Yeah.
So the unfortunate strike in '94 curtailed that. I mean, unfortunately, Tony Gwynn's no longer with us, but Matt Williams would never look at that as being something that stopped him. But a great hitter. But to your point about very quiet leader,
big time.
And what he did, I always remember watching him hit a home run. There was no flash. He put the bat down, run the bases, head down. Didn't want to show anybody up.
What else is interesting too? Here you have Bob Melvin, Matt Williams, and Mike Eldreddy.
That's right.
All teammates as players with the Giants, and now they're on the same coaching staff with the A's. So they go back quite a ways.
Well, guys, just talking to Matty and having the opportunity to work with him last year in the studio, understanding that as I mentioned, the role of a coach is ever evolving, ever changing, managing up, managing down, understanding analytics, being able to process all of these things and communicate these things to these new wave age players. And Matt Williams has done a tremendous job, as he said, identifying what these guys can do well, what they struggle with, what he can help them with, and sort of just laying back and let the talent take over.
Gossett at 71 pitches. Just missed. Gossett's highest inning total was 17th of March. He went 4 innings, and that was against the Giants over in Scottsdale, and he pitched extremely well that day. Runner goes. The throw to second base is a little offline. His pitch was outside, but Blanco swung at it, just trying to protect the runner a little bit. Luke Croy really didn't have
See there, the hit and run, trying to make contact. Anything he can do, Lucroy's got to clear himself. Tough throw. Simeon doesn't have a chance.
It's almost like it's a pitch out, and that shows you how little chance Lucroy had to throw out the base runner. I mean, we saw with a high home camera that type of jump that Hernandez got. There's Maxwell, who is now probably more in the backup role now as a catcher. As the skipper said in Arizona that Jonathan Lucroy signing the contract that he did would be the everyday catcher.
Pitches bounce back to Gossett, checks the runner at second and throws to first. So 2 outs here in the top of the 4th inning. Now the A's have not, I don't believe they have, I did not hear it from the manager today. He announced the starting rotation after Graveman and Minaya Thursday and Friday as far as who's going to be 3, who's going to be 4, who's going to be 5.
Trying to find out who's going to be healthy by then.
Yeah, that's true. You're not quite there yet, right? But Triggs, Gossett, Migden are the other 3 in the rotation.
Well, if you're going on a 5-man in the 5th day, today being Sunday, Gossett, you'd figure, is going to be on Saturday. Trevor Cahill, of course, a recent signing with the A's, trying to get his arm strength back up. Signed a long-term contract after an 18-win season in which he pitched only 5 months. This the first month, came up, had 18 wins, signed a long-term deal.
Trevor is going to pitch 3 innings on Tuesday night in San Francisco. He will start the year in the minor leagues and get him stretched out so he could start if he gets back to the big leagues, and you certainly have a feeling that he will get back to the big leagues with the A's, but he's just not quite ready to start yet. So we'll see him on Tuesday night.
And guys, I remember when Trevor Cahill and Brett Anderson burst onto the scene, a couple of electric arms. Trevor Cahill was featuring 94, 95 bowling ball sinker, tremendous curveball, one we used to call the dactyl. Very funny grip on that pitch. He'd actually grip it with his knuckles like this and spit it out of the hand sideways. Very, very unconventional. Got the results, no doubt about it. It's good to see him back on the mound, and as you guys said, hopefully he gets stretched out and get back up here and can help the big league team.
Gossett deals the 1-2 pitch, and that's going to be into center field, and that's going to be a base hit. So the Giants get a 2-out RBI single. The A's got one in the bottom of the 3rd. Giants get one from Hundley here in the top of the 4th to extend the lead to 4-1, and Bob Melvin's coming out, and Bob Melvin has pointed down to the bullpen. So Yusmeiro Petit is going to come in, and he will take the ball from Daniel Gossett. So Gossett goes 3 2/3 innings in his final tune-up.
Go to skills.com on your phone. Play and win now.
That youngster's having fun. See, he's just getting ready for opening day. Thursday, 1:05.
He's already got his excuse for Thursday. He's ready to go. Doesn't even have to call Dave Calvin.
So Yusmeiro Petit comes in, one of the new arms in the A's bullpen. First pitch in, first strike. Petit signed a 2-year contract with the Athletics.
Might be one of the best offseason acquisitions the A's could have had. Yusmeiro Petit is, I mean, this is a perfect role for him. You don't want to see it happen often, but he can come in at this time of a game out of the bullpen and give you multiple innings. He's not a 1 inning, even 2. He could be 3 or 4 inning pitcher, former starter. Throws strikes.
Joyce shading his eyes, fighting it a little bit, but he's got it. Side retired. Run on 2 hits for the Giants. Bottom of the 4th coming up. Giants 4, A's 1.
Diamond Level. Diamond Level seats offer the most exclusive experience at the Coliseum, located right behind home plate. Complimentary food and drink throughout the game, private parking lot, and access to your seat throughout the team's visiting tunnel. Visit athletics.com/diamond today for more information.
It's good seat, good eats, as we like to say. Back Dallas, you could probably slide your hand right through that railing and get what you wanted to eat.
I'm going to make a few friends down here, boys, no doubt about it.
Matt Olson, a good rip, fouls it just over to our left. Did it go into the press box? I believe it did. Are all the computers okay?
Did anybody get hit in the head because their heads were down typing away?
Looks like everybody's okay. 1-2 the count to Olson, followed by Piscotty and Chapman. Cueto into his 4th inning of work. Cueto will start game 2 of the season for the Giants on Friday in Los Angeles.
Dallas was talking about Johnny Cueto when he's with Kansas City Royals. Several of the Royals pitchers started doing exactly what Cueto does in his delivery. I guess the success that Cueto has had mostly with Cincinnati doing this, but I guess a guy has success, they want to emulate what he does, and he will change pretty much every time he throws.
He's got a career record of 122 and 83, and that's pretty good. 11th year in the big leagues. 2 years with the Giants, 26 and 13. And up and in with a fastball, and Olson strikes out, and that's the 4th for Cueto. Early schedule for the Athletics. Of course, open up against the Angels, and then a 4-game series against the Rangers, and then on the road at Anaheim, at the Dodgers, at the Mariners, come home for the White Sox, Red Sox. So looking at the entire month of April with 3 of the games being in March, 28 games, Ray, 14 home, 14 away, 20 of the 28, and that one is banged off the wall. Piscotty's going to have to hustle for second, and he gets in there with the double. But 20 of the 28 are against the AL West, which is not uncommon, but it always makes for a very important first month.
Had to feel pretty good for Stephen Piscotty coming back home, and probably has faced Cueto a few times. That's the kind of power that Piscotty can provide, and especially the hustle, even though this ball comes off the wall very quickly. So Hernandez gets it back in, but Piscotty able to get in with a sliding double.
So 5 hits now for the A's as Chapman steps up.
Okay, to your point about that schedule, but also you look that the A's are playing on the West Coast. They're playing at the Coliseum, and I don't want to be back in the Nor'easter, back in the East Coast.
No.
They may have a difficult time playing baseball back there.
Yeah, the A's don't go east till the middle of May, so that's not really an issue.
But for those teams who have to start back there, they're inundated with snow and cold weather. The A's are fortunate to be either playing here, Anaheim, Los Angeles, Seattle. Seattle could be a little bit cooler, but at least they have the canopy, the roof.
Yep, Texas, Houston. So the A's should be okay weather-wise.
And that's important to start a season, because the worst thing to come out of Arizona and Florida and you go into cold weather, you're bundled like you are right now with your hands in your pocket.
Numbers last year against the AL West, 32 and 44 for the Athletics. So they, in another area where they're going to need to be better, play within the division.
As many games as you play with your own teams within the division, you better play well.
Well, and 7 of the first 11 games against an Angels team that I'm convinced is going to be pretty darn good.
Well, the question is about, it's not who you play, is when you play them.
Sure.
And let's hope the Angels, coming out of spring training, maybe they're not up to the way they're going to be playing during the regular season and into the season, but they're going to be good. They've really improved dramatically.
That one rolled foul. Bob Melvin also mentioned when talking about the schedule, 11 straight games to open up the season, which is, I guess, a little unusual. So that's not an easy start. And with your pitching staff a little bit banged up, and you're going to probably rely on your bullpen a little bit more early on.
But I do think by starting the season, you want the off days for the latter part of the season. The A's, after those first 11, will have Monday off, then Thursday off. And there are more off days this year in general because of the way the scheduling's set up.
So Chapman strikes out, number 5 for Cueto.
And it's that changeup that Cueto's been utilizing all day today. Left it up against a couple lefties, not so much here. Jerked it just a little bit. Chapman runs out of bat.
So 2 away. Here's Lucroy. But last year, Ray, the A's went 11 and 14 in April, so not a great start. They went 12 and 15 in May, and the point I'm making is by June 1st, the A's were 14 games out of first place. Now, granted, last year it's a different team this year, but you could get buried in this division if you don't get off to a good start because of it's a good division.
Sure. Well, the Astros had the type of year last year where they got off to a good start.
And they ran away.
They ran away with it. And once you have a good start and you put some games between you and the next teams that are following you, you can afford to go 500 because everybody else has to play 750, 800 to try to get back to you.
1-1 to Lucroy. 1-2 to Lucroy. So you always want to get off to a good start. We're not saying anything that's not new, but I think when you have a good division and you have a team in your division that is a powerhouse, I think it maybe becomes even more important. And I think you could put the Astros in the powerhouse category.
Well, especially having Verlander a few years and getting Garrett Cole. That's a rotation that is pretty formidable. When you think about I mean, that's almost every day they can get quality starts.
And don't forget about McCullers.
Well, and Keuchel and Morton. Yeah, I mean, guys who ended up being closers last year in the World Series.
A's will see the Astros for the first time on April 27, 28, 29 in Houston. Astros will be here at the Coliseum May 7, 8, and 9.
Watched a little bit of the Cubs game last night against the Rockies down in Arizona, and the comment was brought up by the Cubs announcers about the Cubs last year following the World Championship and say, well, they don't think the Astros. You know, you play this game to play in October and win a World Series, and you can still get 4 months off. So what's the extension of being too tired to start the next season? You know, you want to repeat, you want to win, and you know, I think that's built in between your ears that, oh, we play the extra month of October. That's what you play the game for, you know.
Well, and I also think it's maybe give the team that you lost to some credit. The Dodgers were pretty darn good, and that's who knocked the Cubs out.
Exactly.
So Cueto ends up striking out 3, gives up the double to Piscotty. Kendall Graveman is going to join us when we come back. Your X1 voice remote and get live stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. Top of the 5th inning from the Coliseum. Yosmera Petit got the final out of the 4th inning, so he's back out there. So he'll face Belt, Posey, and Sandoval. Chad Pinder is the new left fielder. He takes over for Matt Joyce. One pitch is inside. Hey, let's head downstairs to Dallas Braden, who's standing by with Thursday's opening day starter.
That's right, guys. I'm here with Kendall Graveman, the man tabbed for opening day duties. Kendall, talk a little bit. This is going to be your 2nd opening day start in a row. Talk a little bit about what that means to you, getting that nod from the organization.
Yeah, it's a humbling experience. It's 2nd year in a row, and man, it's fun. It's exciting. You get the blood flowing that you don't get in spring training, and hopefully we'll have a big crowd there and an opening day, and it'll be fun. So I'm excited about it for the 2nd year in a row.
Is there anything that you might do differently in your routine leading up to an opening day as opposed to maybe a start in July or August?
I think it's big because there's so much going on opening day. To not get caught up in that, not get wrapped up in the hoopla, the things that are going to be going on the field, and really just stick to your job. And I think it's big because when you're in spring training, you don't do a lot of video prep and a lot of work like that. So it'll be the first time you're doing it all year to really get excited about doing some of that with Lucroy and talk to him. Welcome to the O.co.
Welcome to the O.co. You are absolutely right, my friend. Hey, listen, you finished up September on a fairly high note, some good starts under your belt. Anything you're taking away from those outings, maybe into spring training, that you're looking to take into the season with you?
Yeah, for sure. Last year, finished the year after the shoulder surgery with a, good 10 starts. So yeah, I'm really excited about the way it's come along since then, and the things that I've learned as pitching and myself, and how to mess up some timing, and how to pitch second and third time through the lineup, and how to get deep in ball games. And you know, I've had a year of 184 innings, and I'm trying to get to 200 innings. So I think that's one thing, that staying healthy, most importantly, learning how my arm and my body works, and some things like that, to be able to stay on the mound and pitch every 5 days, which you know how important that is. And so yeah, some things that I've learned physically, also mentally last year, that we'll carry into this season, and hopefully have another year of 31 starts.
Now, do you feel, with the injuries that have occurred, obviously, with Blackburn and Cotton, do you feel any added pressure as a guy in the starting rotation, especially opening day starter, to shoulder any burden like that?
I don't. I think we've all prepared as starters. We had 12 starters to start the spring, and some of those guys will start the year in AAA. Some of them will start the year on the DL, as you mentioned, but we're all pulling in the same direction, and I got faith in the guys that we're going to bring up and kind of fill those spots. And it brings up a unique opportunity for some of the guys that are now going to be in this rotation, since Cotton's gone down and Blackburn is a little hurt and banged up for a little bit. So I think for them, they're excited about it. You look at Gossett, and I think he's going to be great for us. Luke Roy's going to do a good job for him calling the game back there. And he struggled a little bit in the one inning, but overall I thought his stuff looked good today too.
You made a move earlier in spring trading that really caught the attention of me and everybody really around the organization, by bringing in the young starting group, starting pitchers, sitting down and having a talk with them. Can you just maybe expand a little bit on the conversation and what you're looking for out of your guys' self as a group?
Yeah, it's something I wish I would have had. I mean, I had it in college a little bit. Pitching coach that did it with us. I think we're talking about the importance of some of the things that go on during a game. How to slow a game down when you're young and it's your first time and it gets sped up on you. You've been there, you know that experience. Sometimes we're just trying to escalate the experience process, because you can only get out there so many times in a year. But if we could talk about these situations before they come up, then I think it's going to benefit all of us. Talking about the 3-ball counts and the walks and how they hurt, and talking about when if there is an error, because there will be sometime throughout the year. Nobody's perfect. To not get upset and go and get the next guy, and to control what we can control ultimately. And I think that's one of the things that really stood out this year is, hey, let's go out and control what we can do, and then I think everybody around us is going to be better for it.
Spoken like a true leader of the staff. Kendall, thanks for your time. We appreciate you, buddy. It's your opening day starter, Oakland A's, Kendall Graveman. Glenn, Ray?
And we're looking forward to it. And I think Kendall Graveman is obviously he's important because he's your opening day starter. But Ray, I think in his career and where he's at, he needs to go to that next level. Yeah. He needs to pitch 200 innings. He needs to stay healthy. Those are not easy things to do. But I'm still a big believer that even though all this bullpen talk about how bullpens are being used differently now and used more now, I still think to have a successful season and a successful pitching staff, you have to have a couple guys that can get you to 200 innings.
That is the biggest thing, because what Yusmeiro Petit can do, you can't wear them out. And, you know, the guys, the starters are going to have to go deep in the games. And Kendall Graveman, opening day starter last year, he did a great job thanks to KD, Chris Davis, who did not hit a home run all spring, but hit 2 that night, including 1 in the bottom of the 6th inning to get Kendall the win on opening night. But great 2-seam fastball, good slider, good cutter. And the one thing he said, he got a chance to talk to the GOAT, the greatest of all time, in Greg Maddux, and that was when he pitched the shutout in Chicago a couple years ago after talking to Greg Maddux. And you can see how much better, I wouldn't say that he wasn't working quickly, but after talking to Greg Maddux, who always worked quickly and threw strikes, a 98-pitch shutout before Daniel Mingden last year we saw in Philadelphia. That was the first shutout since Graveman 2 years ago in Chicago. So it's you know, but I agree with you, to think about what he can do to expand, to stay healthy, and to go to, you know, he says 31, I'd say 35 starts, because if he's your #1 starter and there's an off day comes up, they're going to bypass somebody else to put him in the slot, so he pitches every 5th day.
And if you look at the really good teams, the postseason teams, they all have 1 guy or 2 guys that are going to push that 200 inning mark.
And Kipe, you know what Dallas was talking to him about, and he did that in spring training. I think this starting staff is going to take it upon themselves. Everybody's talking about the bullpen, everybody's talking about everything else, and not so much about the starters. But I felt all spring that this group of starters, whoever it might be, are going to say, enough of this talk about everybody else. We can do a job. And so what Kendall's doing in bringing the staff together to talk about those things. I think that's where it's going to help the manager. You just saw Scott Emerson, and these pitchers, well, basically saying, hey, it's our game. We're going to stay out there longer than 4 or 5 innings and take it over to the bullpen.
Well, and you know what it does, Foss, is it creates accountability. It creates accountability amongst the rotation, understanding you're about to pass the ball to a man that is going to pick up where you left off, and hopefully you are giving him a foundation to build upon. And when you are accountable for that and you have to answer to the other 4 men in that rotation, now it means something.
2-2 pitch to Crawford, just a little bit low. The A's will start the season with 8 relievers. Trinan, Hatcher, Pagan, Petit, Hendricks, Buchter, Colomb. So you got a couple of lefties. Santiago Casilla, who's been a little bit banged up in spring training. That is the 8 right now, at least. And Crawford just got a piece of it.
Reading an article this morning talking about starting opening day that Sparky Anderson started the season 1 year with 8 pitchers total. Pitchers total.
4 and 4.
And now teams are starting the season with 8 relievers.
It's almost automatic.
Yeah. Oh, you have
start the season where you feel like, hey, let's, you know, guys may not be going 7, 8 innings right away. And
well, 11 consecutive games to start a season.
Yeah.
You know, that really is something that you have to have 5 starters and to have a strong bullpen.
Crawford rolls it toward the right side. Side retired. A hit, nothing else. Bottom of the 5th coming up. It'll be Fowler, Pinder, and Simeon coming up for the A's. On your desktop or mobile device, A's games streamed on the go on the NBC Sports app. 4-1, Giants lead, bottom of the 5th inning. As Dustin Fowler leads it off. Johnny Cueto back out there. So he's getting a good workout. 59 pitches through 4 innings. Fowler singled and scored in the 3rd. First pitch is a little bit inside. Tomorrow night, it'll be Derek Holland against Daniel Migden in San Francisco.
Derek Holland.
Holland trying to make a little comeback. And with all the injuries to the Giants rotation, Holland is going to start the season in the rotation. There was a time where he was pretty good for the Texas Rangers. Injuries kind of slowed him down.
Amazing thing about the guy also named Holland, who's still without a job.
That's
amazing. Closer. I mean, it's one thing to come off Tommy John surgery, but he had a great year last year. So there's nothing wrong with it.
And Foss, the head scratcher is what everybody's trying to do with their staff anyway, and that's shore up that bullpen, right?
That's right. Well, what do you got? You got the Angels and the Rangers both talking about going to 6-man rotations. Although the Angels, they were going to do that with Haney, but now Haney's injured. And then you have the Tampa Bay Rays who are talking about going with a 4-man rotation. So where are we at here, Dallas? Where are we at?
I don't understand it, honestly. When you think about the game of baseball, the way that things have gone for basically eternity, it feels like. And now here we are with a 5-man rotation, and now we're going back to, you've got teams entertaining a 6-man rotation, you've got teams entertaining a 4-man rotation. I, for the life of me, can't understand how a 4-man rotation bodes well for a bullpen. I jokingly remarked the other day, if you're going to run out a 4-man rotation, I'm going to need you to pray for the pin, because it's not looking good for those boys down there. The firemen, those guys who are looking to put out those fires, it's going to be hot and heavy more often than not, I feel like, with a 4-man rotation. And then the 6-man rotation, in an effort to appease whether it's Haney or now it's Ohtani coming over from Japan, making sure the rest and everything in the workload in between is something he can become acclimated to. It's a very, very precarious position to be in when you start manipulating the number of times starters are going to go through a rotation. One of the things, Foss, I think about is the way the disabled list is going to be used. And I said, mark my words, look for Tampa Bay to be near the top of the utilization of the disabled list, using that as a loophole to bring guys up and down to shuttle for that bullpen.
Yeah,
We saw it last year with the 10-day DL. Exactly. Saw it used last year, and you see guys go on the DL because they missed one start.
I mean, there's a part of me that feels like, and I know analytics are important, and I'm sure there's reasons why these things are being done, and I'm sure there's information that back it up. But are we over-analyzing the starting rotation thing?
Yes.
What do you think, Dallas? I think we are a little bit.
Without a doubt. I mean, when you talk about not giving guys the opportunity to flip a lineup card 3 times, we talk about not being able to face adversity. You might not find out who these men are come innings 7, 8, 9. And isn't that what you signed them up for? Was to be able to take care of that sort of workload? And I think when you talk about guys with stuff, maybe it might be the 5th inning, 6th inning until they get going. And because they can handle the workload, 7, 8, 9 might be a realistic expectation for them. But because the calculator says something otherwise, that opportunity gets taken away.
It's almost like now it's how things are done in the postseason is now how things, some people are thinking they should be done in the regular season when it comes to the pitching staff and the bullpen. But can you maintain that for 162 games? 3 up, 2 down inning for Cueto.
March the 29th, it's a 105 day game for the opener against the Angels. Then following night, honoring the 50 greatest players. 7:05 start. Free pet calendar for 10,000 fans presented by Avoderm Natural and Nylabone. Saturday, it's another day game. 15,000 fans get to light up Fireworks Coliseum Snow Globe, and it will continue and conclude the weekend. Day baseball 105 also against the Angels. Be part of opening weekend athletics.com/tickets. Angels in town. It's a big stars with the Angels, but also a chance to watch your Oakland Athletics start this season. The day game on Thursday, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday afternoon. Daniel Coulombe, the A's new Danny Coulombe. It started last year, but Danny Coulombe is going to be in the bullpen for the Athletics on Thursday. Let's not forget, it's Danny. And I call him Danny. But anyway.
It's spring for everybody, Foss. We're all right.
Yeah. But I called him Danny last year because he informed me that no more Daniel. In an interview, his wife was happy, but it is Danny Coulombe. No more Danny.
Facing Steven Duggar. High pop-up. Like the little Bermuda Triangle there, but it's going to be Fowler. Who hangs on. Headed all the way.
Well, center fielder should always take charge whenever possible, and that's what Dustin Fowler does. It's a snow cone on a beautiful afternoon. But you want to see that with your center fielder. He wants to be the one that covers left center to right center. And there are the 4 flags, 4 World Championships blowing on Mount Davis, blowing strongly with the breeze blowing a little bit.
First pitch to Hernandez is in for a strike.
And don't call Jonathan Lucroy John.
John Lucroy just doesn't sound right.
He says, guys call me Luke. All right, Luke.
Luke.
Yeah,
right.
No John for Jonathan. It's Jonathan or Luke.
Well, we don't want to mess with him, so I'm going to call him
Luke. Just call him Luke. Luke. Kind of in the Jason Kendall.
Yep, you're right.
Mentality of wanting to play every day, handle a pitching staff. Of course, Jason, many years with the Pirates, is the only catcher on the roster. Come to the Coliseum, interleague play. Where's the other catcher? Whoever they want to bring in from the outfield or infield if necessary. Otherwise, Jason's the catcher and Jonathan Lucroy. And you know what's interesting too, and really nothing against Bruce Maxwell, Josh Fegley, who's on the disabled list. Dustin Garneau was optioned to AAA. But to hear the pitchers talk about Jonathan Lucroy, I mean, he's a veteran. He's been around. He studies. He has a book on every player. And I think when a pitcher and a catcher can work together in tandem, where there's not a lot of thinking going on from the pitcher standpoint, not that they can't and don't think, but the catcher should take charge and say, you follow me. I know these hitters, and I know what they're capable of doing, what you're capable of doing, and let's go that route.
You know, Foss, I actually had a game in Texas when Lucroy made his way over to Texas last year and was obviously handled the responsibility of that starting staff. And who does he meet? One Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
And I spoke with Bannister about the conversations and the relationship that was starting to develop. And he mentioned that Yu Darvish being a skins on the wall type of individual, meaning what have you done in this game? Show me and then I'll listen. Well, Lucroy showed up with that book you're talking about, with video, video and logs of video and information. And he showed you over the course of about a week that I am going to prepare and I am going to know more about you than you do.
Yeah.
So trust me and go ahead and follow me and I'll get you to the promised land.
And as much as, you know, it's a suggestion from a catcher to a pitcher, the bottom line, if those two are on the same page, it eliminates a lot from the pitcher standpoint.
It's a beautiful dance.
2 away here in the top of the 6th inning.
I always reference one late Jim Catfish Hunter, who the only time he would shake off if the catcher shook his head. And he would simply say, you know what to do. You know the hitters better than I. I'm just going to go with you. And not a bad Cy Young Award winner, 20-game winner, 5 consecutive years, Hall of Fame, and left us way too soon at 52. But what a great pitcher. And he just basically said, hey, tell me what to throw and where to throw it. I'm going to do it. What a concept.
Danny Coulombe, the 3rd pitcher of the afternoon for the A's. Gossett 3 2/3. Petit an inning and a third. Coulomb and Ryan Buchter, the two left-handers in the bullpen. Coulomb last year, 72 appearances, and there were times where he was the lone left-hander down there. So Buchter, who's a pretty good addition for the Athletics, to go along with Coulomb. So you have two pretty good lefties down in that bullpen.
And as one lefty down there, you like to see that. You like to get some company down there. You understand your responsibilities. There's going to be days where things don't work out. There's going to be days when you got a lineup littered full of lefties looking to combat your approach. Nice to have help.
Well, there's also going to be days where it's the 5th or 6th inning, and you got a real good left-handed hitter coming up, and your starting pitcher is scuffling. That's where you need to go to your second lefty, because you may need your first lefty in the 8th inning.
That's right. Your save might come in the 5th with somebody who's struggling. You're right.
And to your guys' point, that's sort of the MO, or sort of the approach that teams are starting to take, understanding, you know what, the closer role, while important, we understand there's high leverage situations, sort of game winning situations that arise long before the 9th inning.
Well, I was shocked last year in the World Series watching Rich Hill go through the lineup perfectly for 2 times, but because he maybe had some problems in the past, he didn't go. You know, and you talk about taking somebody out too soon. But to Dallas's point earlier about flipping the lineup over 3 times, I mean, you as a starting pitcher have enough. I mean, Rich Hill, I mean, we saw him for that half year here. That, I mean, how could you deny him the opportunity, especially after putting zeros up?
I agree.
I mean, that's where the statistics go in and show what's done in the past. Well, what's he doing today? Yeah,
right now.
Exactly. You know, and wow, he's different than he has been in the past. Let's let it ride until he gets in trouble. But don't take somebody out before you anticipate some problems.
That's right, because all the information you have is the throw hits Blanco, rolls into shallow left, and Blanco's going to end up at third. It was a delayed steal by Gregor Blanco, and it was pretty well executed by Blanco.
But Lucroy, unfortunately, it's one of those grab it and throw it, and there's a little stutter step, and I thought maybe Lucroy did a good job by hitting the runner, but it ended up kicking too far away. But there's a case where he just caught the ball and unloaded, knowing that it was the late steal. But he did not close himself up, and as a result, when he did not, the ball ends up going towards the runner, hits the runners, and then Karam's too far away from him.
So 2-0 to Hundley. But to finish that thought, Ray, so the situation we're talking about, you can have all this information gathered, right? And I'm sure it all makes sense. But that information doesn't include today's game.
Absolutely.
Hundley hits one very high. Pinder shading his eyes. He's got it. Side retired. Runner stranded at third. Bottom of the 6th coming up. A's trailing 4-1.
Came up with a big 2-out run scoring single in the 3rd inning. And that's the A's only run in this game so far. So Jed Lowry coming through with a big hit to plate a runner from second base in 2 outs. Our smart play of the day. Jed Lowry. We'll see him do that a lot this year.
And the first pitch to Lowry floats outside. Lowry, Davis, Olson here in the bottom of the 6th inning. First time we're seeing action in the Giants bullpen. That's Josh Osich, a left-hander. So 2-0 the count. So big weekend of baseball coming up to start this 2018 season with the Angels in town. Friday night is opening night, and that's when the announcement is going to be made of the 50 greatest players in Oakland A's history. So that's going to be a fun night. Good way to follow up opening day. 1 through 50. Take a guess where he is on the 1 through 50 list. He's in single digits, put it down. But many of the 50 will be here, and that is what makes it fun. This is the list of many of the guys who will be here, expected to attend. Look at those names. Nick Swisher could be in the house. How about that?
David.
Lots of your old teammates on there, Ray.
Where's my name?
Well, we know you're going to be. Mark Ellis.
Barreto running.
Actually, the big 3, but 2 of the big 3 be here. Tim Hudson and Mark Mulder. And the big heads, well, they'll always be here. The big heads.
That is just foul, and Raleigh Fingers now part of the A's front office, which is exciting.
Yeah, just unfortunate. Reggie Jackson, who was scheduled to be here, but I guess he injured himself down in Florida. It's a tendon issue, and wish Reggie the best, and he's in his recuperation period. But for those who cannot attend or will not be able to attend for various reasons, some who are still playing, we'll send a video of appreciation, I'm sure, that will be played during that time as Franklin Barreto goes into pinch run for Jed Lowry and made it the game. So it'll be a good night on Friday night, the second, actually the first night game of the season, the second game overall.
0-2 to Chris Davis. Good take there. Davis has popped out and struck out. Can't imagine Cueto will pitch a whole lot longer. 78 pitches. In fact, with Matt Olson, the left-handed hitter in the on-deck circle, maybe this is his last guy.
One thing about Kendall Graveman, opening day starter for the Athletics, that will be something that he's never experienced as an opening day starter. Also, it was Chris Davis. He had 2 home runs, one of them coming in the bottom of the 6th inning, giving Kendall Graveman the win that night. A very good night for KD, hitting 2 home runs of his 43 on the season. I think this defensive alignment, we see so many shifts, but in the case of Chris Davis, who has tremendous power to all fields, there's as straight up as you will ever see. As the second baseman panics slightly in a pull, but center, left, and right straightaway positioning, because Chris Davis has as much power going opposite field. And of his 43 last year, I bet there was not a half a dozen that were pulled. The rest of them to center field, right center, right field. Just tremendous power. If they want to pitch him away, he says, all right, I'll take it that way.
Well, it doesn't matter, Foss. Yosemite, Jellystone, there's not a national park here that can hold them.
That's right.
Jellystone, that's solid reference right there. Jellystone.
When you think of 85 home runs combined in the last 2 years, and they said coming out of Miller Park, will he hit home runs? This man can hit them anywhere, like Dallas said.
Yeah, how far you want.
Exactly.
3-2. Barreto not on the move. The ball's hit hard towards short. Crawford's got it. And that's going to be a double play. Pretty smoothly done by the shortstop Brandon Crawford. So Davis hit it very hard, but it goes as a 6-4-3 double play. And Bruce Bochy's coming out, and it looks like that will be it for Johnny Cueto, who finishes with 81 pitches. Osich coming in. We'll be back.
We make the sausages you crave.
So Johnny Cueto, 5 2/3 innings. So pretty good outing for Cueto as he gets set for the Dodgers on Friday. 5 2/3, 82 pitches, a walk, 6 strikeouts. And here's a lefty on lefty matchup. Osich to face the A's Matt Olson.
And you said Cueto's going game 2?
Game 2, yeah.
Who's the starting pitcher against Kershaw?
I think it's going to be Ty Block.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Go get him, lefty.
Oh, man. Clayton Kershaw, who I want to say I read did not allow a run in spring training.
0.00. 21 consecutive scoreless innings in the Cactus League. And, you know, unlike the late Bob Welsh, who had about 27 ERA and won the Cy Young Award, Kershaw can have a 0.00 and still win the Cy Young Award.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to give it all up in spring training. He is that good. Let's not forget also, you guys talk about Machado and Harper at the end of this year. Let's not forget that Mr. Kershaw has an opt-out after the 2018 season. He could also be on that train as well. I don't think he'll go anywhere.
Probably not, but he's going to get a new deal of some sort.
And correct me if I'm wrong, when he initially signed, they something like 10 years they wanted to give him. He said, no, you know, let's go 5. You know, I think
it was 7 and opt out after 5 or something like that.
But you know, he said, no, just give me 5, and it's $30 million a year.
That's Jose Altuve money.
How about that? Yeah. Only Jose will play 160 games, and Kershaw will be out there 35. But yeah, it's. But back to our talk about starting pitching, man. If you get that kind of a starter,
you got to hold them.
That's right.
Especially if you're a big market team that can't afford it.
That's right. And just think if their total TV contract ever kicks in.
Strike 3 call. So Olson strikes out, side retired. We are moving to the 7th at the Coliseum. Still 4-1 San Francisco. Well, again this summer, Giants and A's face off in the Bay Bridge Series, but this year the stakes will be raised. Find out with a special announcement coming tomorrow during the A's-Giants game on NBC Sports Bay Area. Big news, you do not want to miss it. A's and Giants will play 6 times this year in the regular season. The 3 games before the All-Star break and the 3 games after the All-Star break. So we'll be sick of them by the time that's all done with. But the games will be bunched together, which will make it very interesting. Something to play for. Liam Hendriks is the new pitcher for the Athletics. That one end of the bat. Panic goes after the first pitch, and he's retired. So 1 out. Numbers for Liam Hendriks last year. He was a workhorse. This spring, 7 games so far, but he was not afraid to take the ball last year, Ray, and he ended up having a pretty good year.
You know, unlike a lot of starters who became relievers, he just airs it out.
Yes,
and guys come in out of the bullpen now and do that as Franklin Barreto stays in the game at second base. But that's the good thing about Liam Hendriks is admittedly said I became a better pitcher when I went to the bullpen because he could just come in and throw hard. Got a hard slider cutter plus a good fastball, and I mean he can go multiple innings also like Petit. He's got that good heater.
Hendriks, faintly remember him as a starter. I remember him starting some games for the Twins.
Yeah.
Toronto, but just did not have a huge amount of success.
You know, guys, sometimes when you've got the kind of stuff that Liam has, and you find yourself starting a ball game, you feel maybe the need and the necessity to try to taper yourself, to try to ease into, set things up. Here in the bullpen, you let it eat.
That one's belted to center. Fowler's back. Fowler near the wall, and he's got it right in front of the wall. Belts hit a couple of those today, just not quite enough.
Well, that smile, and as Kendall Graven said, welcome to the Coliseum. And this is not Arizona anymore. This is cooler weather. Belt probably said, I got all of this. He's going to say, okay, but not here. And of course, in his park, that's a can of corn. But I think that swing and that finish, he said, I got it all, and Dustin Fowler got it all himself. I think that smile by Belt set it up.
So 2 outs here in the 7th.
But you know, the shots that we have seen today, the play that Duggar made off of Matt Joyce, you know, if you can force hitters to try to pull pitches that are outside and you get that result, that's pitching. Go to the biggest part of the park. You go down left field line 330, right field line 330, straightaway center 400. And the gaps here at 388 are reasonable, but you take Yankee Stadium, the old and the new. I mean, it's a road trip to left center, right center there. And that's the best way to pitch. Pitch them away, let them try to pull it down the short lines. Or that.
Scooped up by Chapman, and that's a very good inning for Liam Hendriks. 7th inning stretch from the Coliseum. Giants 4, A's 1.
The Athletics are proud to announce this, the Treehouse, brand new party deck with an indoor and outdoor bar, games, and food. Listen to this. Attend every A's regular season game in the Treehouse. That's 81 games for just $29 monthly. Monthly. This is inside the Treehouse. Now, folks, you can come and watch an A's game out there, and you do the math. $149.99 for this season. Puts general admission seating in the outfield section. For more information, as always, visit athletics.com. And listen, I mean, look at the big screen TVs. You look at the fans having a great time. I can see that midweek day game or midweek night game.
Jumping.
Oh, it's going to be packed out there.
Jumping.
Yeah.
Sunscreen. But as we mentioned earlier too, Ray, if you purchase that pass, obviously you're in the Treehouse, but you can go on that same level. You walk out of the Treehouse and you go to your left, you can go down any one of those sections on that level. Yeah,
Right
there you go.
Yeah, that's just,
you can just walk down there and sit for a while.
yeah.
And guys, it's jam-packed with stuff inside. There's stuff to do inside. Boss, you pointed out, they got big screen TVs everywhere. You're bellied up at the bar, anywhere, grabbing a bite, grabbing a beer. You can get that done. They got pool tables. They got foosball. They got a tree in there. I guarantee it's 200 years old by the size and the rings on it. I didn't count them all. I ain't got that kind of time. But my God, they've got it decked out there.
Yeah, that's up by the breezeway, which is all part of the Treehouse. It's all connected. And if you just have a seat anywhere in the ballpark, a ticket, and you just say, hey, I'm going to spend a couple innings walking around, you can go up to the Treehouse and stay there the whole game if you want.
Or as Dave Campbell said, you're in the Treehouse, you can upgrade, come down to a seat down below. So a great amenity here at the Coliseum. And you know, when your baseball exec and Billy Beane, again, when he said that in spring training, what Dave Campbell is trying to do to enhance the fan experience at the Coliseum, that says it all, because here's a baseball man who wants to put the best team on the field. But realizing when fans come to the game, you could see how the stompers out there, they have areas that people can go throw baseballs and do things with the kids.
See, listen, Ray, nobody's trying to fool anybody and say, hey, the A's have a brand new ballpark here. It's an old ballpark, but you make it the best you can because the people that come here really enjoy coming here.
Absolutely.
So what you do is, you know that A's fans love coming to the Coliseum, even though it is an older ballpark. So you make it even better for them.
That's right.
Give them some options.
That's right. And, you know, I think Bob Melvin's always said it best. Use it as your advantage. This is your home park.
And guys, when you take a look at everything that's gone on out in Boston over the years with the revamp of that ballpark, even with what the Chicago Cubs have going on, and to the point of Dave Campbell and the effort that himself and the front office has made, the fan experience is something you have to pay attention to this day and age, not only just what's going on in the field. So hats off to a tremendous job by everybody involved.
Yeah, that's a good point. You do have to listen to your fans, and again, every fan loves his own ballpark. They love coming. It makes them feel good.
But how would you think as a fan, and really I think it's unprecedented, that you have the president of the ball club with open door policy saying you come in and have a suggestion, and he was very open and admitted, said, hey, the fans make the suggestion, we just follow through.
Nothing wrong with that. 3 up, 3 down inning for Derek Law. 8th inning coming up. 4:30 over on NBC Sports Bay Area. We'll also be streaming live on the NBC Sports app. Don't miss anything about the Warriors this season. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and NBCSportsBayArea.com. So that's right next door in just a little bit. The Warriors and the Jazz.
You knew that was happening today when half the parking lot was already sectioned off.
Yeah. Steph Curry's got his special spot, although it's over
on the A
east side.
Two. Just one or two?
So two.
Yeah.
We got two.
Yeah.
So shouldn't we get two from the Warriors side?
That's what I said.
I think it's fair. And guys, let's remember something. Matt Chapman today parked in a parking spot that did not belong to him either. That won Kevin Durant's parking spot.
Oh, so he's got his own spot too?
Oh,
sounds like it.
Now, is that over on the A side?
It sounds like it.
Is it one spot or two?
Well, I'm not sure how big the vehicle Chapman drove today is, but I think it might be one, maybe two.
Okay.
They usually have blue cones on the A side. And I agree with you, man. If they're going to take the A side,
I got a spot I like to park in every time. I know you have.
Yeah, well, Melvin. How about Bob Melvin?
Talk
Talk about superstitious. Then it's always on the Warriors side, on that side where the parking lot is. Bob Melvin parks probably on the A side. I don't know. I mean, that's got to be tough for him. And these little events could take place. Well, Warriors
into June.
Yeah.
we found that out.
Well, I'll give Dick Callahan a lot of credit because, man, as soon as they made the changes defensively, he was on top of it. The A's public address announcer, Dick Callahan, telling us who went to the various positions.
He told us that Raul Alcantara is pitching for the 8th time this spring.
Pitching to Bruce Maxwell, who's his new catcher.
And that one is hit to right, and that's hit pretty well. Boog Powell, the new right fielder, is back, but he's going to run out of room. That's a solo home run for Pablo Sandoval. And that right there is the reason that Sandoval is going to make this team as the bench player.
We talked about the Giants needing depth. Here you go. Lefty's got some pop from both sides of the plate. Come in off the bench for Bochy, and here you go. This is why, as you said, can pull the hands, get the head through, exit stage right.
And all the while being paid handsomely by the Boston Red Sox.
He's getting an American League check and playing for the National League.
For minimum salary for the boys across the bay, but the boys from Fenway send a big check.
Unbelievable. It really is unbelievable if you think about it. Now, we're talking about a $20 million check.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, I was thinking at the beginning of this game, who would have thought that in 2018 that Pablo Sandoval would be hitting cleanup for the San Francisco Giants, you know, and here he is. I mean, he hits a home run, more power to him. But, you know, that's what happens when players who sign huge contracts and it doesn't work out. And a team like Boston has nothing. They print money at Fenway. They can say, see you later.
And shouldn't you be, if you're Sandoval, shouldn't you be the most relaxed player out there?
Thank you. You should have been that in Boston.
Right? I mean, it just did not work in Boston.
No.
That was going south early in Boston.
Well, you know, they have two guys there, that out here with San Francisco that talk about needing to be comfortable. Cueto being a guy who was very vocal about needing the fan base support, needing that comfort. And Pablo, same thing. Boss, he went over to Boston. Things didn't work out. Was vocal about it. Found himself back here, Bayside, comfortable.
Who is that?
Cy Kurt Young,
pitching coach.
Unbelievable.
You know what's really unbelievable to see Al Pedrique wearing number 41, and no, it's not Kurt.
It's Kurt. So Kurt Young is now the pitching coach for the Giants. So we're glad that he
now batting 78.
Hooked up with a pretty good organization. We wish Kurt the best of luck. He is clearly one of our favorites.
Yes, he is.
One of the nicest guys you'll meet in baseball.
And really, you know, it benefited Kurt Young, but it's sad about Dave Righetti. That, you know, sometimes a change of voice or whatever, but Dave Righetti's one of the best in the game. And he was a great pitcher, starter as well as a reliever, pitched a no-hitter, closer for the Yankees, all those great things. Pitching coach, some 19 years, 3 World Championships. And again, couldn't be happy for Kurt Young. He still trains in Arizona with the Giants. He's going to live out of here, so a short flight back home to the Phoenix area.
Well, it probably worked out about as well as it could for Kurt.
For Kurt, exactly. Wish him the best. One of the good guys. Great pitcher, the '89 World Championship team. Pitching coach for many years with the A's. And I'd say the one thing that probably stands out more to me than anything is the fact that the skipper Bob Melvin, who liked one Brian Price, they not forever, but because Brian Price could not be let go by the Reds, so Bob Melvin could get him. Kurt Young was a pitching coach, and the one thing the skipper said, man, I didn't know this guy was this good. You know, but I mean,
when Bob became the manager.
Exactly. When Bob Melvin was a manager, Kurt Young was a pitching coach, he said, this guy's great. But you know, you get comfortable. And I think of Tony La Russa all those years with Dave Duncan. There was never an incident that occurred with those two guys because it was the same manager, the same pitching coach. But you know, you have to get comfortable as a manager to have people around that you have known in the past, and you mentioned before about Mike Aldretti and Matt Williams. You know, that's a comfort level for the skipper.
3-2 now to Duggar.
And Voss, just piggybacking on that, when you know they come up, they played together, they were teammates on the field together, so they understand what they're getting out of each other as far as performance is concerned. But they have that relationship, that sort of unspoken word can occur with just a look or a feel of the ball game. Now you have three men who've encountered that, experienced that all together on two sides of the ball.
Alan Hansen, the pinch runner. See if he takes off. 3-2, nobody out.
He's going.
I think he's going, yeah.
I think that first move indicated that he was taking off, and I better hurry up and get back.
You know, some players look fast. Alan Hansen looks like he's fast. We saw him a little bit with the White Sox last year. He does go, and the ball is cued. Foul. That's Ron Wotus, the Giants' third base coach.
You look fast to me. I mean, seriously, when I see you.
To the lunchroom. You gotta get there. Canna at first, Lombardozzi at second, Powell in right, Maxwell the catcher. Those are the new changes. So the only regular, or the only player still out there from the starting lineup, is Dustin Fowler. Runner goes again. The ball is hit hard but fouled. Of course, this is also the time of year it's hard for a manager and the whole front office, because you really do, you hold your breath. I mean, the Giants found out with Bumgarner, and then you saw Chris Sale got hit in the hip yesterday, although it looks like he's going to be okay. But it does happen. Remember, we saw Coco Chris break his, it was his thumb or his hand, right? And it was, what, 2 games before the season started.
That's right.
And
Bay Bridge.
it just, there's not a lot you can do about it, but you just want to get through these 3 games. Swing and a miss by Duggar, stolen base for Hansen. I mean, you cringe when you see this. This was Matt Joyce in the 3rd inning, and he goes down.
Matt, if you're watching, it's the same pain every time we just showed 3 replays, because it's one of the most painful things, and he almost hit one out straightaway center after fouling the ball off his knee.
So Hansen now at second. Giants have stolen 4 bases today. Here's Gorkis Hernandez. And that one almost hit Hernandez as Alcantara runs it inside. A little bit high with the fastball. 2-0.
Maxwell kind of flinching his left hand. He caught the ball a little bit awkwardly, or at least the ball hit his catcher's mitt, maybe up in the finger area. Some movement on the pitch from Alcantara. It's rare. They always talk about the bare hand getting hit, but sometimes the glove hand catches the ball incorrectly, or the ball runs a little bit.
Good pickoff move by Alcantara, well executed with Lombardozzi.
Maxwell drops this ball, but after, see where it hits him. He took his glove off and flinched, so he got it some part of his hand that was not smooth, and that was not a foul ball. That was just a fastball that had some movement on it.
So tell me if I'm right here, Ray. 95% of the time, a catcher on a basic pitch that he's catching before it goes in the dirt, he catches it in the same spot in the glove. But every once in a while, it rattles around a little bit.
And your fingers extending into the glove and your thumb, obviously. And if you hit off the end of the fingers, you know, it doesn't feel too good, especially with movement on a pitch.
Runner goes. The ball's looped toward right field. Powell coming in. Powell coming in. He dives. He's got it. And this will be a double play as he flips it back into the infield. Side retired. So a nice play by Boog Powell playing in right field. And it is indeed a double play. Bottom of the 8th coming up. 5-1 San Francisco. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 5-7-0 for the Giants, 1-5-2 for the Athletics. Gossett pitched into the 4th inning. Cueto pitched into the 6th inning. A's only run knocked in by Jed Lowry in the 3rd inning with a 2-out RBI single that scored Dustin Fowler. So 2 more exhibition games left for the Athletics. And then it starts for real on Thursday afternoon against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They will throw Garrett Richards. Talk about health. How important is Garrett Richards to the Angels? Right. When Garrett Richards is healthy, I mean, he is nasty, but he just cannot stay healthy.
Talking about 6-man rotation possibly with the Angels. We'll see what happens with Heaney, but I think Cole Hamels would like to be traded to the Tampa Bay Rays because he wants the 4-man rotation. They're going 6.
Fowler, shallow center. Duggar's not going to get it. Duggar did not get a great read on that. Fowler will take it. So,
Mini big play of the day brought to you by your California Mini dealers. And how about this play? Because it turned out to be a double play. Ball hit to the right side. A nice play by Boog Powell slide, and then, of course, with the runner on the move, able to double him up off second base easily. And Hansen, you know, if you're a hitter and the guy takes off at 3rd, take the pitch.
Yep.
I mean, pretty good chance he's going to steal it.
Yeah, what was the count?
Didn't have 2 strikes.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't have 2 strikes, you see a runner take off with that kind of speed, thank you. Steal the bag, then your infield may come in, or at least I have a chance to sack fly to drive him in.
He's trying to help you.
Thank you. He helped him all right, turning into a double play.
Good swing by Pinder, fouls it just below us. 1-1 the count. Chad Pinder going to be the super utility guy for the A's. I think probably going to get a fair amount of playing time in left field, maybe a little bit of a platoon with Matt Joyce. And if one of the infielders needs a break, Pinder can slide to the infield. So he's a very valuable guy.
Well, by the way, the skipper's looking for an emergency catcher. And Chad Pinder said, I can do that too.
Good for him.
Which would be smart for a lot of guys, just to show the skipper you can warm up pitchers, catch some batting practice. And he has done that. He's warmed up pitchers before. But if you carry 2, now the Astros are going to carry 3 because Max Stassi is out of options. Evan Gattis will DH a lot of the times, but they'll have 3 catchers. But most teams carry only 2. And God forbid anything happens seriously where you're down to not a catcher available. You got to have somebody as an emergency until you can call somebody up the next day.
Here's some of the changes. Hector Sanchez is the catcher. Alan Hansen stays in at second. Chase Darno is the third baseman. And last year, Chad Pinder hit 15 home runs in 87 games. Also had 15 doubles. Foul tip, and he strikes out.
Home runs were not cheap either, because he hit some of the longest home runs we've ever seen from some guy. You don't expect to hit as long home runs as Chad Pinder did.
Now batting, the catcher.
The A's last year, 234 home runs hit. That was the 4th most in the entire major leagues. They ended up 9th in the league in runs scored, as Bruce Maxwell hits for the first time. He's with a lot of strikeouts last year. In fact, I think they set a franchise record. So we'll see if that's an area of improvement, but you don't want to take away the home runs either.
And not surprisingly, last year in Major League Baseball, home runs were up, strikeouts were up.
Hansen fires to second for 1, double clutch, but a throw to first, dug out by Arenado. So a pretty nice play all around, and that is a double play. So we are on to the 9th. Coverage begins at noon on Thursday. Pre and post game gang, they'll all be here, and they will be live from the brand new Treehouse area in left field. It's all available to stream live on the NBC Sports app. So A's Angels first pitch scheduled for 1:05. Graveman, second time he's been an opening day start. Again, it is opening day. The A's have always been opening night. They're going to try opening day this year, so we're excited. It's supposed to be a very nice day. Sunshine and temperatures in the 70s is the forecast. Night game on Friday, and then day games on Saturday and Sunday. No rain is in the forecast, so that's a good thing. Simone Castro's on the mound as he's going to get Blanco. Barreto squeezes it.
Yeah, that's a good point about the no rain. Talking to Clay Wood, the head groundskeeper, and he said it's been a tough winter, especially lately, because once football's over and then they have some sort of an event, and then Clay has to get this field ready for baseball. And with all the rain lately,
yeah,
it's been a little bit difficult, but man, he's done a great job as always this time of the year to get the field ready. And it's going to be a nice welcome to he and his crew, I'm sure, as they head into the opening day and the first homestand, to have expected good weather. I think the only rain possibly could come the final game on April the 5th, that Thursday afternoon, and a little bit later, maybe in the nighttime.
Yeah, it rained a fair amount in January, then none in February, and then lately it's been raining quite a bit here in late March.
And I tell you what, guys, regardless of how the stadium situation continues to shape up over the future, there's one man that is not angry about the Raiders heading to Vegas.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, Dallas, you got to be part of the gang. You got to about, you know, like maybe June 1st, just start going up to Clay. Clay, now when do the Raiders get going? We do it on purpose every year just to get his reaction. He knows it. He laughs.
Oh yeah, I was talking to him before the game today, and he was talking about the monster truck rally that they had just had here, and the kind of work it takes to turn this place over. Because I walked up to him and I told him in all seriousness, Clay, my man, she is a beauty. Just looking at this green grass, this beautiful field this morning with the dew and the shine on it. He told me the monster truck story, and I didn't understand what else he was saying on the way off. He wasn't happy.
Well, that's all part of it. And I think from what I understand, they played the football season. They put all grass, even where it's the cutouts for baseball. But then when football is over, they bring all the dirt in for the monster trucks, and then they put a brand new sod field down. But, you know, getting the base of the field ready and then the sod on top of it, hopefully it can take hold. I mean, I saw some games back at Old Comiskey Park in Chicago where it rained so much they had to dip in the outfield. They'd never sodded. The old Met in Minneapolis, out where the Mall of America is now.
So let the grass die and then grow back in the spring.
Right.
A little bit high, 2-0. Simone Castro got a little work in with the A's last year. Appeared in 26 games, 1-3 with a 4.38 ERA. 29 years old, from the Dominican Republic.
I think one of the hardest things in spring training, hard on the manager because he has to be the Grim Reaper, as they say, to tell the guys. But, you know, even to come to the Bay Bridge series, and as of Tuesday night's game, you only have 25.
Yep.
You know, everybody else has to go down. And, you know, I always admire players who kind of come to spring training with the idea it's going to be an uphill battle to make the club. And for a manager, Sheldon Noisy is a non-roster, so he could come to this Bay Bridge series, so he's able to play, takes advantage of this opportunity, which Matt Chapman did the last couple of years.
Well, Ray, let me ask you this question. Has any player in spring training this year made more of an impression than Sheldon Noisy?
No, absolutely not. I mean, he's been very impressive.
He can hit.
Worked with Mark Ellis, who was a camp advisor, former great second base for the A's, working with him at second base, for more of a third baseman. But Matt Chapman is going to take care of that position for a long time. But Sheldon Noisy, I mean, he can hit and tremendous power opposite field, but a very smart hitter as well.
Noisy, we'll see him in the bottom of the ninth inning.
Sure. And really, you go back to one of the trades the A's made. You look back to last year in the trade to Washington of Doolittle and Matson, and then Sonny Gray to New York. That's 5 quality players the A's got in return for 3 players. And those 3 players will help the Nationals and the Yankees. But what the A's got in this one young man right here, Dustin Fowler, also. So, I mean, there's some good trades that are made when teams are trying to win, as both the Yankees and the Nationals were last year, and they're willing to give up prospects.
But Trinan will be the closer.
Yeah, that's right. He came over from the Nationals. Actually 6, Mike. Thank you, Delaire. That's why Delaire's the best, isn't he? He always corrects us.
That's our producer, Delaire LaWars. 1-2 to Jonah Arenado. Yes, he is related to the great Arenado with the Rockies. It's his younger brother.
This guy's half of what his brother is.
How about a third?
Looks like him too, except for the double ear flap. The A's will see a Nolan Arenado this year.
Good luck getting a ground ball through that household.
Forget it.
Right. Well, I had the great human vacuum cleaner with Brooks Robinson at third base for the Orioles. Well, Rockies have Arenado that the Giants or the National League teams have to try to get through him.
You know, you were talking about that, you know, the trade. That things got noisy, but Bob Melvin was raving about Luzardo, the left-handed, young left-handed pitcher that was part of that trade. Raving about it. Swing and a miss. So that is how the ninth inning, the top of the ninth, comes to an end. Last shot for the Athletics. A little work to do. They trail 5-1.
California is brought to you by Toyota, with more models over 40 mpg than any other manufacturer. Toyota, let's go places. By Southwest, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Xfinity, X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Bottom of the ninth inning.
Franklin.
A's trailing 5-1. Franklin Barreto will lead things off. 5-7-0 for the Giants. 1-6-2 for the Athletics. So the A's fans, they're glad to have their team back in the Bay Area. Get ready for Thursday, opening day.
Well, Kipe, you were mentioning a young man by the name of Luzardo.
Jesus Luzardo.
And he started the game for the A's last weekend. And of course on a pitch count, but he was lights out and then pitched again before the club broke camp. But he is a very, very good young left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, keep an eye on him. He's only 20 years old. I believe he'll probably start the season single A Stockton maybe.
And probably go all the way up, single, double, triple. And who knows how quickly he's going to be here. But he is good. But as we always say, how does a young man handle adversity? Because when he gets to the big leagues, and that's what A.J. Puck, there was some question about him. Of course, he had a little health issue that after he was sent down. But bottom line, this game is a game of failure. How do you deal with it? And some guys can, most guys can, some guys can't. And you have to be able to handle failure because you are going to fail. Great Matt Newton, I always say, said something. How do you deal with the times that you do fail? Do you learn something from those failures? And you put it in that perspective. If you strike out with the bases loaded, what did you learn from that at bat? You know, if you give up a hit with the bases loaded, what did you learn with the pitch that you made?
2-1 to Barreto, who's had a very good spring. Seems like Barreto's tightened up his game a little bit.
Well, the strikeout's the biggest thing for him, and he has tightened it up a little bit. This is why you wear a mask and a helmet. This is the hockey style mask.
Barreto will be in AAA, so he's close. 2-2. Pierce Johnson is the new pitcher. Pretty good breaking ball, and Barreto swings and misses. That's out number 1.
It's a tiny little slider there. He threw him the first pitch slider to get the at-bat going, got the swing and miss, and went back to it after he gets the 2 strikes. Almost like a little slurvish, actually. Create that depth in the zone. Barreto just unable to barrel it up. Looks like he was sitting heater.
I remember Barreto, still just 22 years old, Dal. I mean, this is a young man. He turned 22 in February, so he is already 22. He will play this year at that age, and still a very young player, even for AAA.
Still very green, and Voss can speak to this. You know, coming up and learning at the big league level, trying to get as many ABs as you can, trying to pay attention, learn how to behave at the big league level, and then you find yourself back down in AAA, handling competition that you can deal with. And we all know it's not about getting to this level, it's about staying at this level, and he's part of that young crop that they're so excited about. So while he at this point still sits in that true 3 outcome type of player approach, I think there's still room to make that adjustment to cut down on that swing and miss.
2-0 to Chris Davis. Davis playing the entire game. He is the designated hitter today. He has popped to short, struck out, and hit into a 6-4-3 double play. Davis will be much more DHing this year than in years past.
And that in itself is something new for Chris Davis, because in the National League he didn't have that opportunity to DH. Last 2 years playing here, you hit 85 home runs, but playing majority of the time in left field. With the addition of Stephen Piscotty, moves to right field, Matt George to left, and Chris Davis will be DHing a lot. Played a lot in left field during spring training, but I think that's something he's going to have to adjust to, because sometimes guys who play both sides of the ball enjoy going to defense because it takes a little added pressure off them offensively.
So a full count to Davis. Sheldon Noisy is in the on-deck circle.
A lot of players who become full-time DHers will contact, talk to players. Of course, the one guy, Edgar Martinez, stands out. Frank Thomas, guys who, David Ortiz, who were DHing all the time. And it's a special thing. What do you do? Now, in his case, he's got 8 batters to wait before he comes up again. Instead of going back out, here comes the slider. A little tighter slider that time. Did not hang as much as it did to Barreto, but still the same offering. And a little bit outside. And Katie pulling off the ball just a little bit.
So here is Sheldon Noisy, who we talked about last inning. 23-year-old infielder. He's strong. From Fort Worth, Texas. Second-round pick of the Nationals in 2016. So really just 2 years in the minor league. So
you think
he's still developing.
A.J. Puck, the A's #1 draft choice. And here you get the Nationals #2.
Sure. University of Oklahoma. So he got out of Texas and went to Oklahoma.
Didn't have to lose an accent.
Nope. Oh, 0-2. So the count now 1-2. Last year, Noisy hit 16 home runs in the minor leagues.
It's part of the AA Midland team that won 4 consecutive championships. They were presented rings. And Phoenix, I think it was that Thursday night game that we televised. And Sheldon Noisy part of that.
And Noisy played 18 games in AA last year. 22 games in single A Stockton. So not a lot of time in the A's organization, but very impressive in a short period of time. A fastball to hit there, hits it high and foul down the right field line.
And if people are listening to us and they see N-E-U-S-E, and it's pronounced noisy.
Noisy.
Noisy, N-E-U-S-E. Noisy.
Like those A's announcers are noisy, right?
Instead, maybe it's noisy. No, noisy.
That one right on the outside corner. Strike 3 called, and that's the ball game. So exhibition baseball from the Coliseum comes to an end on this Sunday afternoon, and the Giants defeat the Athletics by a final score of 5-1. So Cueto pitches well. He's going to get the win. Daniel Gossett takes the loss. Gossett goes 3 2/3 innings. So more baseball tomorrow night and Tuesday night from AT&T Park in San Francisco. Ray and I will come back and talk about today's game right after this.